Avengers versus X-Men should not happen in Avengers Doomsday. There's been a lot of noise about this movie over the past few weeks, right? There were some leaks this past week. Your boy Wong there, and you got James Marsden. You got Ian McKellen with his little Magneto cape, and James Marsden with his Cyclops shades on. So what does this tell us? Not a whole lot of anything, just that they're shooting the movie and they are actually in it. Right. And he is playing Magneto. You know, we had one.
Well, I mean, there's no timestamp on it either. It could have been from 10, 15 years ago.
They're making some changes to Human Torch and Sue Storm. Now, not like they did, like, he's not going to be a black stepbrother. We're not going to do that.
No, he was the son, and
I'm
Sue
sorry.
was the step.
She was, yes,
right.
Yeah. So Sue's not going to be his little white stepsister. It's not Human Torch. What is his personality like in the comics? Who is he?
He's a prankster.
Okay.
He's pretty much exactly the way they portrayed him in the movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. He's a ladies' man. They portrayed him as almost like this womanizer, right? So they're changing that a little bit. Beau Demayo calls out Marvel about this. Beau responded, said they pulled this softening shit with Namor too. Do you think they made him softer than the Namor in the comics?
Oh, they definitely made him softer.
That's Beau Demayo's point here,
right?
Which he's saying they're doing with Johnny. I don't think they're making Johnny softer though. They don't want to broadcast their hero being a womanizer. The Sopranos is the greatest show of all time. All right. Welcome to Only Comics. I'm Mike. This is Adrian.
What's up?
What's up, dude?
Dude, I love New England, but I'm just done with this weather, dude. It's like it's fucking freezing. It's cold. It's doing everything but snow.
Correct.
And then it's 60 degrees the next day.
Yep.
And then it's 13 the next day.
Yes.
So I'm getting a little tired of it.
It was winter, dude. So yesterday I was driving up to Mass. My son had a basketball tournament up in East Norfolk, Mass, like almost in New Hampshire. Dude, they have like snow still, like on the side of the like literally inches of snow. I'm like, it's like I time traveled. I left Connecticut, went up there, and like all of a sudden I'm back in winter again.
Right.
And now, actually, but you're watching this probably Monday, and they're saying Monday is going to be like 70 degrees.
Nice.
Or no, Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. And tax day.
Yes.
You know, Trump is bringing in nice weather so you can go and pay your taxes.
Absolutely.
Nice.
The Donald's coming through, dude. That's quite the shirt over there, Adrian. The periodic table of Marvel.
I love it, dude. It's like old school, man.
It's like a mix of both podcasts, right? Because you got Marvel on there, and you got some science elements to it. Because we have other stuff.
We have other stuff.
We get into a lot of. I was listening to some Billy Carson, Joe Rogan the other day. Just get you down that rabbit hole, dude. So
now, were you listening to Billy Carson himself?
Yeah.
Or the AI-generated voice of Billy Carson, with Billy Carson that's sitting in the background just moving his lips and everything's not syncing up?
No, this was actually him. This was Rogan's show. Yeah, no, it was actually him. But, dude, and we get into a lot of that, like Anunnaki, pyramids, and we're talking about some World Fair this week.
Right.
But on other stuff. So shout out to the Legion of, I got the Legion of Interns shirt, Adrian. Shout out to the Legion out there. You can get this at onlycomicsmerch.com, and you can join the membership right on our YouTube page and join the Legion of Interns, get access to other stuff, which is, it's kind of the opposite of this.
Right.
But this is Only Comics, Adrian. Where we discuss comics and only comics. So
not necessarily.
No, but we're going to get into some comic stuff, dude. Avengers Doomsday. There's been a lot of noise about this movie over the past few weeks, right? And it's like, dude, I'm starting to feel like we're getting back into that prime Marvel era, dude. We're getting some Avengers movies next year, and then the following year we got Fantastic Four in a few months. But they're shooting this movie right now, so we're gonna see set photos and leaks and shit. We saw the kind of craters or whatever that set photo was last week.
Right,
remember that? We had the big chair video a couple weeks back.
Right.
A couple of the names on there were James Marsden, right? Benedict Wong, who plays Wong. And then Ian McKellen, who plays Magneto. So, Adrian, there were some leaks this past week. So
nice.
It's nice. I'm going to show you, if you want to go to the laptop shot real quick. Now, this one, I don't believe this is in the movie. This just seems like two guys talking on set.
Right.
But you got your boy Wong there, and you got James Marsden. Now, the next one, Adrian, you got Ian McKellen with his little Magneto cape, and James Marsden with his Cyclops shades on. So, what does this tell us? Not a whole lot of anything, just that they're shooting the movie and they are actually in it. And he is playing Magneto. You know, We had one.
Well, I mean, there's no timestamp on it either. It could have been from 10, 15 years ago.
That's what some people said. Isn't this X3? But so I don't know if they've all 100% confirmed this is from now. But the timing with James Marsden talking to Wong on set, we know that's a newer.
Sure.
You know. Now, if this is accurate, it looks like they're staying true to the X-Men Fox universe as far as what costumes they're going to be wearing. So a lot of people are like, does that mean we're going to get them in, comic accurate costumes? But if we're merging two existing universes, it wouldn't make sense that all of a sudden they have new costumes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
So
even though this Magneto costume looked like some Dracula shit. The dark purple on the outside with the red on the inside. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it does. Maybe it's going to have fangs, dude. Who knows?
Who knows?
But how do you feel about, now it's one thing to hear the name or see the name, but seeing this shot now, knowing that, all right, we're getting Cyclops interacting with Magneto in Avengers Doomsday for some reason.
Right.
Like, has this got you more excited, less? Like, you liking where this is going?
I don't give a shit, dude.
You don't care?
No, I just want the final product, and I want the final product to be a good story.
Okay. Moving on to some Fantastic Four news. So Matt Shakman, he's the director of this. I've never heard. You ever heard of this guy, Matt Shakman? He directed. I'm gonna pull up his list real quick. What he directed, but he was he directed and produced WandaVision. Okay, he did a lot of TV stuff. So it's kind of, this is maybe his second or third movie he's directed. He's done a lot of TV. So WandaVision, he's directed some episodes of The Great. I've never seen that. It's Always Sunny. The Great. You ever heard of that show?
No.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've heard of that. I've never watched it. Fargo, some episodes of the Game of Thrones last season. So the one that you're not, but earlier episodes. And now he's directing Fantastic Four First Step. So I'm going to pull out a handful of things that he's said. This movie, we talked about this last week, where it's going to be more of a grounded take on space, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
But it's like, he said, instead of, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin pretending to go to the moon.
Right.
Or going, who knows.
Right.
There's another theory, too, that, like, they went to the moon but screwed up the footage, so they had to, like, shoot it in Hollywood to, have the footage. You ever hear that theory?
No, and that sounds complete bullshit to me.
Okay. All right, so you're not buying that one.
No.
Okay.
It's like you put something out just in case they figured out that we actually made this on a movie set. We got an excuse now. Got
it. So he's saying we knew that we would be on another Earth. We had a chance to reinvent what the 60s looked like. So now I'm wondering, when this movie was first announced, it sounded like it was a 60s inspired take, but now this is kind of sounding like this takes place in the 60s.
Right.
So that means we're going to see some time travel, right, to bring this Fantastic Four family into the MCU and multiversal travel.
See, so now we're gender swapping, we're race swapping, now you're time swapping.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what their version of the 60s is going to look like.
Yeah.
Probably going to look like Friends.
Friends? Oh, I see where you're going with this. Gotcha. But he says, I was really interested in imagining the Fantastic Four being astronauts instead of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin going to the moon. What if it was Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben, who are really the first to go into outer space, the first to push those boundaries?
Well, I mean, if there really isn't a comparison, because Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, they went to the moon, supposedly past this asteroid, highly radioactive highly radioactive belt that surrounds the Earth.
Yeah.
That you supposedly have to go through in order to get to the moon.
They just went right through.
No problem. No problem.
Got it.
With some little tinfoil hats on and so on and so forth. The Fantastic Four did not go to the moon. They just went into outer space. Into an observatory, stationary orbit around the Earth. So you really can't compare the two.
Right. No, this is definitely changing their origin somewhat, which...
Now, you can't compare him to the Russian dog going into space. He just kind of circled a little bit and came back down.
God, he didn't get through that radioactive
No.
He wasn't doggy paddling fast enough. That's probably what happened.
That's what it was.
But I like this dude. Looking at them, you know me, I'm a bigger fan of grounded stories. Like we're talking a little bit later about some Hush comics and stuff like that. But I like the grounded. Like I'm not a huge fan of Batman in space fighting fucking aliens. Like I like him beating the shit out of a serial killer in the alley. You know. So for me, I'm liking this, and I like the idea of making these guys, because in the comics, the Fantastic Four were popular.
Yes.
They were early comics, right? Where they were like,
Correct.
shit celebrities.
Right.
So it's like they're going to get that treatment here, which we saw a little bit of in the first Fantastic Four movie.
Yes.
But that movie sucked so bad. Like, I mean,
Right.
come on, dude. It sucked so bad it could have been at a Diddy party.
Right.
So, anyways, moving on. But they're making some changes, Adrian. So they're making some changes to Human Torch and Sue Storm. Now, not like they did. Like, he's not going to be a black stepbrother. We're not going to do that.
No, he was the son, and
I'm
Sue
sorry.
was the step.
She was, yes,
Right.
yeah. So Sue's not going to be his little white stepsister. That's
Right.
not what's going to happen here.
Speaking of diddling.
Yeah, exactly. So Shackman and Feige were talking about the previous iterations of Human Torch. Now, actually, before I even get into this,
Yep.
you're a Fantastic Four guy.
Yep.
Tell me, if I don't know about Human Torch, what is his personality like in the comics? Who is he?
He's a prankster.
Okay.
He's pretty much exactly the way they portrayed him in the movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. He's a ladies' man? Or is that something they did for the movies?
He's I think in the comics he's also like a stunt guy. So
Yeah.
he's like a he's one of those high adrenaline, like to do anything. Like if he wasn't a Human Torch, he'd be, spelunking, parachuting.
Got it.
Like
a daredevil, if you
right?
will.
Snow skiing out of an airplane, kind of a shit.
Now, because in the movie, especially with Chris Evans, they portrayed him as almost like this womanizer, right? So they're changing that a little bit. So what he said was he was branded as a womanizing, devil-may-care guy, but is that sexy these days? I don't think so. This version is going to be less callous with other people's feelings. Hopefully, there's a self-awareness. But then he adds, he's really smart. He's on the spaceship for a reason, and sometimes people forget that in various comics because he's the most heroic of them. But they did talk about, he's still gonna be that witty, that like, I guess, walk on the line, danger, but he's not gonna be the womanizing version that we've seen in some movies.
Sure.
They got to be politically correct in some way, Adrian. Now, as far as Sue's gonna go under some big changes, allegedly. She is the Invisible Woman has helped achieve global demilitarization and peace. Okay. Describing her as the most emotionally intelligent person on the planet. Between her and Reed, they're building an idealistic society. Now, this is something that I think Vanessa Kirby let slip. She's playing Sue. She talked about playing a pregnant superhero and confirmed that she's taken a deep dive into the comics by referencing Sue's darker alter ego Malice. So she's incorporating some aspects of Malice in this portrayal. So she says, Matt and I were really aware that there hasn't been a mother with a baby in these superhero archetypes women have been getting. One of the things I love most about Sue's history is when she became Malice, all of her dark stuff comes out. I was obsessed with that chapter of her life. So I wanted to make sure that there were tones of Malice in there with her, that she wasn't just the stereotype of a goody, sweet mother. So I'm liking these changes, dude.
So you always forget about the black people, right? So wasn't there a pregnant spider woman in Across the Spider-Verse?
There was.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There was that. I mean, you got live action versus animated, but still, I mean, she was like 13 months pregnant.
Correct.
Kind of thing. On a motorcycle at that.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, of course, they want to embrace, the darker shades of gray kind of stuff. I mean, it's more exciting because Sue was basically a housewife when she was first invented, right? And that she came out with very muted powers, and now they want to kind of swing cautiously to the extreme.
Right.
So I like the idea. I mean, but you don't have to have you don't have to adopt a Malice side in order to have those kind of more exciting aspects to your personality.
Sure. And it sounds like I doubt we're not going to see Malice in this movie.
Right.
But her at least planting those seeds for, I mean, if this Fantastic Four movie does well and it ends up being like some of the other Marvel characters where we get, 3 movies out of them, maybe we see her eventually turn into Malice, which would be an interesting, because we've not seen that on screen.
Right.
We've seen literally, 3 times of them trying to tell us the same story, just getting shittier each time for some reason.
What's that term in basketball when one guy puts the ball up for the other guy to slam it? Layup?
Yep.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about alley-oop.
Or whatever that is. But she's basically setting us up for something that potentially could happen in the future.
Yeah.
Where they slam dunk that thing.
Right. They also asked him about Matt Shackman asked him why is he prioritizing Galactus over Doom in this first movie, right? So he says Doom's a great character, but he takes up a lot of air. Other film adaptations have done both an origin story and Doom. We're doing neither. That allows us to look at them from a fresh perspective. Out of everything I've heard, this is probably my favorite statement he said. Like, thank you.
Right.
We don't need, like, now, I'm sure we'll see some type of quick flashback. Like, they're not going to not explain how they got their powers, but we don't need a fucking 45-minute chunk of the film showing them going to space and getting hit with this radiation and coming back. And, we also don't need the Doom stuff down our throat in the first Fantastic Four movie.
Correct.
There's plenty of other villains.
That's correct. And you don't need to explain Galactus. Galactus, he shows up, he shows out, and he goes away.
Correct.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Which I think is his point. Like, Doom takes up a lot of... You got to do a lot to have Doom in your movie.
Right.
Hence why he's getting his own Avengers movie, right?
Yep.
But Galactus, he could just show up. He's just... You see him, you know he's just a big-ass threat. Right. He doesn't need a lot of screen time. Right. Doom, I think he does.
He's the orca, the killer whale that showed up on a beach, and it's like, okay, everybody get out the water now because we got this massive threat here.
Right. So he says that Galactus, is a very different type of villain, and they didn't just use a motion capture for Galactus. We wanted to actually have someone there embodying the part. So we built an entire costume for him. So it wasn't like just, hey, put this blue suit on and we'll put everything over. They built a Galactus costume for someone and scaled it. So, how do you, they're testing it out, make sure the scale's right. He says, how do you film Mount Rushmore, ? But I like that idea because we've seen Galactus pretty fucked up on screen one time. Right. The giant cloud was just ridiculous. Right. But that's what you get when you don't do shit like this. I love the idea of them building him an actual suit, a person walking, not just voicing him. I mean, it's what they did, with Iron Man early on. It wasn't the full suit, but they had pieces. Like he had the actual helmet and shit versus just do everything in CGI,
Well, Ant-Man, when he got 50 foot tall, when he was the Avengers were fighting. Right. That's scaling. Yeah. Now Galactus, of course, can be taller than that because Galactus can scale up and down depending on how much he feeds. Yep. But that's a perfect example of scaling with a costume.
And the only shot we've seen of Galactus so far is when he's looking over New York, and you see the shadow of his head covers half the damn city. Right. And you see the size of the Statue of Liberty compared to him, dude. It's like he's massive already.
Yeah, that's probably a few 100 feet tall.
It's got to be.
The Statue of Liberty is what? How tall? It's not like Eiffel Tower size. I don't want to say.
I'll tell you right now.
I think it is.
Let's see. Statue of Liberty height, 305 feet.
305 feet.
Dude, so the fact that he's looking down at him like he's a toy, holy shit. Yeah. He's got to be 1,000 feet in that. Right. Yeah, he's a big ass motherfucker, dude. But anyways, I'm looking forward to this movie. I say this every fucking week, but I think we're being in for a treat. I think it's gonna be good. These minor changes, and this is like, I was going back and forth with this dude on TikTok this week about the Snow White stuff, because he's like, "Are you saying that movies and stories shouldn't be updated?" I'm like, whoa, I'm not saying that, but we can't change core elements to that story, right? Like, if you make Johnny still charismatic, still the hero type, but, maybe he's not the most womanizing type because that doesn't go over well today. Sure, I'm with you. But if you tell me that he's no longer Human Torch, he's Iceman, all right, now I'm fucking lost. Knock it off, right? Or Sue and Johnny are not, siblings anymore, or they're still siblings, but she's now adopted. Right. Okay, that's a little different. Or they didn't go to space. So you start doing that shit, now you've changed the story.
Exactly.
Like Snow White, he's like, well, it's a story about good and evil. No, it's a story. You want to get real? It's a story about true love, Adrian. She's got this spell. Well, she meets this prince, falls in love. This witch, this fucking hater, puts a spell on her. Right? She's asleep. The only one that can wake her up, Adrian, is a kiss by her true love. Right. So the prince comes back and saves her. That's the fucking story. It's not some super masculine, anti-feminist. That's the story, dude. They were in love. It's a love story. Calm down.
Wait a minute. Where does Snow White come into this?
Because the guy was saying that you shouldn't change, or you can update these stories. Like, you shouldn't, a guy kissing a girl while she's asleep is kind of creepy. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, they're already in love. It's a love story. Right. So it's not a good verse. So we were talking about last week, them changing, or the actress wanting to change the part of the story of the princess being saved. Once you do that, it's no longer Snow White.
Right.
If Simba doesn't become king, it's not the fucking Lion King anymore.
He's just a lion.
He's just a lion, dude. I'm all about updating shit. Like, sure.
Now, you can also change and alter, but it's not the same thing. Like, for example, there is a version of Snow White called Maleficent.
Yep.
With Angelina Jolie.
Yep.
And Angelina Jolie is actually the one that brings her back.
Right.
You know, that kind of love. So you can change something.
Yeah, it's an offshoot.
It's an offshoot.
Like, so there's a movie, Huntsman, where it is based on Snow White lore, but Snow White's kind of like a badass in there.
Right.
Hey, but we're doing Disney Snow White, dude. The prince is going to save the princess. Enough.
Right.
You don't need, like, this is I'm going on rant here, but this is like the shit that when you overcorrect.
Right.
There's plenty of movies where there's female leads, and there's some where they're the ones getting saved. Right. Both are okay. I don't think we need all of one. I think in the past it was all of one, right? Like, we talked about this with comics. If you were a female character, you were a secretary, you were getting everybody's lunch type shit. And now we've seen it to where they can be both. They can be hero, they can be a fucking stay-at-home mom, they can be whatever.
Right.
You know, so anyway,
I'm wondering if the seven dwarves were pissed off that the prince woke Snow White up
for real. Now they gotta fucking sing and do all this shit again. They're like, man, we were on break.
No, they weren't on break.
Okay. Oh shit. I see where you're going with this, Adrian. All right.
Like that fucking prince. Get out of here.
But to my point, these type changes, I'm good with, dude. This shit, I'm not gonna, this is not that. It's not offensive. It doesn't change who these characters are. This, in my opinion, is a good way to update. Changing the whole, we no longer need a prince to save this, that. Dude, if you don't want to watch a story, go watch Moana or something like that, where there's no prince saving her, she's saving everybody.
Right.
You can have both. It's okay. Anyways, so, dude, Beau Demayo calls out Marvel about this. So he's kind of on the other side. So he, we know Beau, dude. He's always got something to say, right? He responded to the news article we were just talking about. Beau responded, said they pulled this softening shit with Namor, too. Now, that's all he said. Now, you had issues with their Namor.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
I know they changed his nationality in a way that, they tied it to, which I had no issue with, that part. And I also, I wouldn't say... I've been exposed to Namor, but I've not read a ton of Namor shit. It's usually been him and other stuff. But I know you being such an Iron Man fan, they're always intertwined. Black Panther. What was your biggest issue with Namor in Wakanda Forever?
Everything. The origin thing, the vibranium thing. He didn't look physically like a Namor.
The presence. Yeah.
And also his cousin Namorita.
Yeah.
And none of that lineage looked the part.
Got it.
And then, he's basically kind of the first mutant, right? And then you got, some 13-year-old, drink some herb, drink some Kool-Aid, and then all of a sudden she's kicking his ass. Just nonsense to me.
Okay. Do you think they made him softer than the Namor in the comics?
Oh, they definitely made him softer.
That's Beau Demayo's point here,
right?
Which he's saying they're doing with Johnny. I don't think they're making Johnny softer though. It sounds like they're just changing one thing he was doing because it's Marvel. They don't want to broadcast their hero being a womanizer.
Well, kind of like your boy that didn't want to choke somebody on Penguin.
Oh
right?
yeah, yep.
But also it's like, today, and I can kind of understand it. You almost need a prenup to say hello to anybody today, right? So they most certainly don't want to portray him as being somebody that's constantly getting sued. Correct. Which is basically what he would be doing.
Absolutely. And they've done this with other characters and it's been fine. There's other elements to Johnny that are intriguing, entertaining than that. There's more depth to this character. No different than Tony Stark, dude. In the comics, he's a playboy.
Yeah.
We saw that for one movie, And then once these movies got big, they kind of left that out of the movies. Remember, now he's with Pepper, so he's not out there doing. But Iron Man 1, dude, he was banging the calendar girl. Remember the fucking news reporter, everyone who walked by.
That's it.
But so my point is, I don't think that equates to softening Johnny.
No.
I will say that Namor is more of a savage in the comics. Definitely, like, he walks that line of anti-hero villain sometimes, and he leans probably more to the villain side.
Right. Well, I mean,
almost like a Doom.
He's protecting his kingdom.
Correct.
His kingdom is first. He was in order to do that. He was brought up. He was nurtured. He was shaped to be a warrior, and you had to be in order to protect your entire kingdom from the rest of the planet.
Right.
So everything that he does is in the interest of his kingdom and Sue.
Right. Yeah. Now the fact though that we have a Namor that exists and we're about to see the Fantastic Four, I want to see my man back, dude. I want to see him, actually he's going to be in Doomsday and so is Sue. So Reed Richards better watch out, bro.
He ain't got nothing to worry about it. She goes out, get her little thing.
She'll be back.
Get her little strange, then she'll come back.
Reed's just, he likes to share the wealth,
He's in there with his machines and toys.
That's true. He's distracted. He is too distracted.
In the negative zone and shit.
For real. While she's out at, fucking Ford ad, dude. Like, knock it off.
Wow.
Fuck. All right. Thunderbolts, Adrian. This movie drops. We are less than a month away. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
First heard about this movie was like fucking 2 years out. Like Thunderbolts come like, what? What's that? Who cares?
Exactly.
Dude, I don't know if you've seen the most recent footage from this movie with Sentry as Void just literally snapping people out of the air, dude.
Yeah. I saw that.
Dude, he's a savage.
We shall see.
We shall see. But, I mean, you did a hidden gem on him a few weeks ago.
Right. Meth head.
Meth savage. Boy. Hey, people can clean up, Adrian.
It's not about whether or not you can clean up. You absolutely can. Depending on who you are.
True. Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan Major. Never mind. But this movie is... The early projections from a box office standpoint it's eyeing between 63 and 77 million. So kind of on the lower side, which I'm not surprised. I mean, I can see this movie. It's in the same ballpark as the original Thor at this point, the Eternals, and then Shang-Chi, which, came out during COVID. So it doesn't seem like this movie is going to be a big, massive hit, which I think... But who knows? Word of mouth, it could be great, and then we could see the numbers jump up. But either way, I don't really care. To me, this movie is... I think it's going to be a good movie.
I think it's an overdue movie. I'm going to see it regardless.
Yep.
If it's good, we'll talk about it.
Like, they should have came sooner, or...
Oh, well, first of all, it should have been, the Fantastic Four should have shown up more often than they do.
Yep.
Right? Number one. Number two, it's overdue primarily because, this remake, something needs to erase the previous three.
Got it. I'm saying Thunderbolts.
Oh, Thunderbolts. I give a shit about Thunderbolts. I mean, I still want to see it because it looks intriguing, even though the third like musical looking trailer looks kind of like, maybe I'll wait for streaming, but I probably will go to the movies and see it. Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I like what I see so far. We've talked about the A24 influence in this movie, where a lot of the people working on this, and this supposedly is going to feel different than most of the Marvel movies. This is the stuff where I get like, don't tell me this shit and then have it not be true. Right? Because if you didn't say that, I wouldn't be expecting that. I go back on movies like Ant-Man 3, when it was hyped in the marketing like it was going to be a Infinity War level of movie, and it was nowhere near that. So I think not that it wasn't the greatest movie ever, but I think they overhyped it, which then caused a negative response to the expectations that they set, if that makes any sense. And I don't think they've done that with this, but I am looking now. So this is kind of like the synopsis we've heard so far. It's an unconventional team of anti-heroes, right? You got Yelena, Black Widow's sister. You got Bucky, Red Guardian, your boy, fatty from Russia.
Yep.
We got Ghost, who they that's one who they gender swapped. And then Taskmaster, they also gender swapped from the comics. Taskmaster is typically a guy.
Yeah.
And then you got John Walker, the U.S. agent. So team of interesting individuals. No one's like crazy superpowered. I mean, because John Walker, he never took the serum, right? I can't remember if he took it in Captain America, the show.
I can't remember either. I want to say yeah, but
okay, possibly.
Possibly.
Taskmaster has, I mean, even this new version's pretty badass. Ghost.
Is this the same Taskmaster that was in Black Panther, the first one?
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
It was a female?
Yeah, it was a female. It was
I didn't
somebody's
realize
daughter.
that.
Yeah, it wasn't revealed till late in the movie. But I mean, she seemed to be, pretty badass. Ghost who now can control her powers because Ant-Man and Wasp helped her figure that piece out. Red Guardian did have the serum, right? He's just old and fucking out of shape.
Right.
And then, you got Bucky who's had the serum. And but they're not like Avenger level group. And they're kind of in this death trap set by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, this chick in the shadows.
Dreyfus chick, right?
Yes. Yep. Who we've seen in a handful of movies, just kind of behind the scenes.
Right.
She was in the Winter Soldier Falcon show. So it's cool that some of those plot lines will get kind of tied up here. And they're on this dangerous mission that is going to force them to confront the darkest corners of their past, and they all have pretty fucked up past. Then the other thing is you have Lewis Pullman as Bob/Sentry, who, based off these trailers, looks like these group of ragtags are trying to stop him, which is not an easy task.
Right.
Because the power set that he has versus theirs, it's,
Right. Night and day.
Night and day.
Wait a minute, Pullman. Is he related to Bill Pullman, the guy that died?
I don't know. Lewis Pullman. What else?
Because I know the guy in Daredevil, the now deputy mayor of communications, is Soprano's son, right?
James Gandolfini's son. Yep. So Pullman, he's this guy. He was in Salem's Lot. He was in Top Gun Maverick. He was in The Strangers Pray at Night. His dad is Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
Wait, Bill Pullman is from what?
Bill Pullman.
Oh, he's in Casper. He's in Spaceballs. Okay. Oh, shit. Yeah, I know this guy. Yeah, so his son is Sentry.
What's the picture?
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, so he's not dead. I'm thinking about the guy from Weird Science. He was also in Twister.
Okay.
I can't think of his name.
He was the main guy in Twister. Yeah, he did die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I like this guy, too. He was in Independence Day. He was the president in Independence Day.
Okay, yep. There you go. So his son is playing Sentry.
Okay, there we go.
But I mean, this group,
I like that.
Right?
Pass it on.
And the way they've done, or at least what they've showed us with Sentry so far, looks badass. And we've only really seen the Void, and then he turns like into a shadow almost. And dude, he's just dropping people, and it takes place in New York. Somehow, I think Allegra is now the owner of the Avengers Tower. So this is something that's been, something that we've been uncertain of for years is who bought Avengers Tower. In Spider-Man Homecoming, we see them, they're, taking everything out, and Happy talks about how they sold it and they moved to that facility up north where they had the Endgame battle.
Right.
So
there was actually a whole Spider-Man episode with the Vulture.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was hijacking the transport.
That was in Homecoming. Yeah. So since then, we have no idea who's even occupied this building, but we knew that Tony was selling it.
Right.
So now we know that somehow this chick,
Yeah, but it's not the Avengers Towers anymore, though.
No, it's just some tower.
Exactly, just some building with some, a lot of floor space.
Yes. So be cool to see that back. But anyways, I'm looking forward to the Thunderbolts. That drops in May. Let's see. It is May 2nd. So, yeah, less than a month away. Moving on to some Batman news, Adrian. Batman 2. Now, there's been a bunch of delays, as everyone's aware of, right? Sure. And there was now, I'm going to report that this is a rumor. This is something that Grace Randolph, and before I even report the rumor, let me tell you what she's known for. So Grace Randolph is a film critic, a YouTuber. She's written comic books. Some of them were Justice League Unlimited, X-Men Nation X. But she's also she's a YouTube channel. She puts out news. Now she's had some controversy. So she has this kind of doesn't have the best relationship with James Gunn. Okay, she advocated for him to get fired from Marvel back in 2009. Remember, this is before we were doing the show, but in 2017, James Gunn was fired in between Guardians 2 and 3 because of some old tweets from years ago, from like college, of him saying like, who knows? He's probably saying things that were okay to say back then, right?
Sure.
And anyways, they fired him, and she was one of the one pushing for him to get fired.
Sure. And
the cast all stepped in, like even I think like Batista and a handful of these guys, like, I'm not doing another Guardians movie if he's not here. And they brought him back. He did the third one, and now he's over at DC, right? So there, then she denied that claim. She reported some news about Birds of Prey. They went under massive reshoots to take out an alleged dick pic storyline. Like that contained some like pedo stuff. And then the director came out and said, no, that's not true at all. So basically she's put out some false rumors in the past. She also mentioned back during The Mandalorian, she said that Pedro Pascal had quit halfway through filming the second season because he wanted more screen time without the helmet or whatever. And then, they also came out and said that wasn't true. So I say that to tell you to take this rumor with a grain of salt. But we did hear, was it last week, that Matt Reeves may be the reason this is delayed because of some personal reasons. Now, the rumor that she just said that was released was that this is what she said. If you knew what Matt Reeves was dealing with, you leave him alone. I mean, it's not a Chadwick Boseman situation, but it's close. You should leave Matt Reeves alone. So who knows if that's true or not. If it is, I mean, I feel sorry for the guy or whatever. I hope whoever is dealing with something can, work through. Shit happens. It's life. It sucks. But it sounds like it's more of if this is true, and it would kind of validate what we heard last week, that he's got some personal shit going on to why he can't get this, movie together, which, hey, I miss life, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks as a fan from like, hey, wanting to see a Batman movie, but I hope the guy's all right and everything. And it's like, you just pass it to someone else. Well, dude, this is part of why this is so good is Matt Reeves was involved. And like this ain't like they just took some random story and anyone could have directed this. I mean, he's created this universe, this Batman. So hopefully if this is true, I wish him the best. And, but if it's not, then this bitch should be canceled.
So is the news Matt Reeves, information about Matt Reeves' condition, or is this news because this chick is like talking shit?
Well, I wouldn't say talking shit because no one's came out and said this isn't true. But she's acting like she's close.
The previous shit is like
correct.
She's got a bad track record.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying she's talking shit.
Yeah, that's why I brought that, because when I first read this, I'm like, dude, this is true. God, it sucks. Now, if it's not, then she's an asshole. So then I looked her up because I never heard of her. If you say, hey, James Gunn said this about Matt Reeves, I'm like, he probably knows they work together, But this chick, and the fact that she's been, they've called her bluff several times in the past. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? But if that is the case, then hey, man, take as long as you need.
Right.
I don't think the answer is before anyone just let someone else finish the movie. No, we've seen that shit in the past. You go get the new. That's what happened with the Justice League, right? You had Snyder there. He had some personal issues, the daughter and all that, and then they bring in what's his name, Josh Whedon, and he just takes the giant fucking dump on this movie. And then they want Snyder to come back and clean it up. And anyways, so, but I hope you're not lying, Grace Randolph. Last piece of news. The Last of Us, Adrian, the show. I didn't know if you knew this. Did you know that the season 2 is out? Well, by the time you're watching this, it's out. It drops Sunday night.
I was doing some research this morning, and I saw one of the ads that keeps interrupting you. The Last of Us premieres tonight at 9 or something Eastern. Yeah.
And right now, it has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Our friends at Rotten Tomatoes, a 37 verdict. So not a surprise. Season 1 was certified fresh at 96%. And 7-episode season premiere. So they're dropping the whole season, I guess.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so you're going to have to give some time to get through that. But I really liked the first season. I played the games, you didn't, but you saw the first season.
I did. I'm looking forward to it, and probably do some binge watching tonight.
There you go.
So I'll probably be going to sleep at 4 o'clock instead of getting up at 4 o'clock.
Hey, it's worth it. You're a big zombie guy, right? Like you like I'm not typically. Like, I have never watched The Walking Dead. Can you believe that?
It's ridiculous now, dude.
Well,
I mean, how many spinoffs they got?
Like 20 seasons or something?
No, well, they got like 20 seasons of The Walking Dead, but
Yep.
then like they got like 18 spinoffs.
Got
now
it.
they're battling for New Yorkers. It's just crazy.
So it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know this when it first dropped, but it's based on a comic book. Comic book came first, which is cool. But I never got into it. I've never been crazy about zombies. I don't dislike, but I don't gravitate towards them. You know what I mean? But this story, it's almost a disservice to call it a zombie story. There's so much more to it. It's the whole story is about him and the girl and how he wanted nothing to do with her in the beginning, and then he ends up actually like bonding with this girl, and then the cure, the whole shit. I mean, it's a great story, great game. But how do you think? Like, how does this rank against like? Because you're a zombie guy,
Right.
Is this like top notch, mid for you for Last of Us?
It's mid as a zombie movie.
Okay.
To me, it's not a zombie movie. It's like a post-apocalyptic movie, but it's definitely not a zombie movie.
Okay.
It just doesn't feel like that. Now there's this movie, I forget, it's like Black Sunday or something. That's a zombie movie.
Got it.
Things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, to me, it's more than a zombie movie. Like, I don't watch it because it's zombie. I watch it because of how good of a story it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, dude. Anyways, we're gonna wrap up the news and rumors with a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you ready, Adrian?
Let's do it.
And y'all like this? If we made you laugh, if we taught you something, if you found out, or if we pissed you off, like the video.
There you go.
And you let us know if how you feel about this news. All right. So, number one, Avengers Doomsday set photos leak. We saw James Marsden as Cyclops talking to Magneto. We saw Wong in the mix. I give this a thumbs up, dude.
Thumbs up.
The Fantastic Four director reveals some huge cast changes to Human Torch and Invisible Woman. Well, they're not that huge.
Right.
Human Torch is no longer going to be a womanizer, and Sue Storm is going to embrace maybe some of this malice and maybe be more important than just a secretary or a mom.
There you go.
I give it a thumbs up, dude.
Well, I mean, the news, they actually counter out the news.
Yeah.
Johnny being, less of a womanizer and Sue being more of a hoe.
Yeah.
They kind of canceled each other out. So, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Beau Demayo calls out the MCU for making Namor and Johnny Storm soft. Beau, I'm usually on your side, but I'll give you a thumbs down, dude. Just shut the fuck up. I mean, like, enough already, dude. Like, I got it. You made X-Men 97. It was great. And then, for whatever reason, you got booted. No one can seem to agree on why.
Right.
And then you're like, hey, I'll tell you the rest of my story on my OnlyFans. Beau, it is now time. Someone suggested we should have a segment called Shut the Fuck Up.
Right.
It's just going to be sporadic. We're going to have it right now. Beau Demayo, shut the fuck up.
There you go.
Moving on. Thunderbolts box office tracking to a soft domestic opening, Adrian. Less than 100 million. I give this a thumbs down, dude. Maybe they should have been more with the marketing. I don't know.
For what it is, for the group it is, I give it a thumbs up. I mean, at least they're out.
True.
They are going to be out.
True.
We can take it at face value. We'll evaluate it. We'll talk about it. Shit on it. Whatever the case is going to be.
Yeah.
At least it's a Marvel movie because we haven't had one in a while.
Got it. I'm going to ask you and make a prediction, Adrian. Do you think this movie's going to be good or bad?
If those are the only choices, I think it's going to be good.
I think so, too. So we'll see. Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen.
Batman 2's delay is rumored by this shit Grace Randolph to be because Matt Reeves is dealing with something health-wise that is, not quite a Chadwick Boseman situation, but close. She says you should leave him alone. So, I mean, I don't even know what to give this thumbs. I just, I hope it's not true, I guess. And
I agree.
If it is, I send, thoughts and good positive vibes that way.
There you go.
And then last but not least, The Last of Us Season 2 debuted this week, and it is 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. I give us a thumbs up, dude. I can't wait to binge it. So, moving on, that was thumbs up, thumbs down. We are going to get into some Daredevil stuff. But before we do that, Adrian, go to the wide shot here.
Yep.
All right, so we got some comic book stuff out. We had a handful of orders this past week, so appreciate everyone that bought some books here. I have a gift for you, Adrian. Let me tell you this. So, Hush 2 just dropped.
Yep.
We read the first issue. We're going to wait before we dig into that because some people just ordered some of those, want those books to get out.
Right.
But we're going to revisit Hush here. We did I was looking back. We did we read the book and watched the movie. Remember this? We did a comparison between the two probably a year ago or more. So we're going to revisit the Hush comic as Hush 2 starts. So I want to give you a gift, Adrian, for your read here. So we have these for sale on the website. These are the Hush 20th anniversary edition. So it's this hardcover book. Retails for $50. I think we have them on sale for $40. And this has a nice interview with Jeff Loeb in here, but you get every issue of Hush in this nice collected edition. Nice. And dude, in the back, I know you're an art guy, Adrian. Look at this stuff. You got some of these original sketches in there.
Nice.
Jim Lee. Yeah, so check that out. So I don't know how well y'all can see that on there. But you can get these at Only Comics merch. Well, you can't get this one because this is Adrian. So there you go, dude. Absolutely. But you can get that one. You can get the Hush trade paperback right there. We have Hush 2, the first issue. I got a new variant of that. I think we have every variant. They're also, Adrian, re-releasing the original Hush issue by issue. So they're releasing those in individual comics and these foil variants. So
nice.
Yeah, they're up to, I think, the first 3 or 4. So they're releasing them monthly again.
Okay.
So every issue that is released, we'll have them on the website. So you can get this foil variant and the regular variant. But check that out, dude.
It's nice, dude.
Look at that. You could maybe
the
shade.
Art is great, too.
Art, yeah. Well, it's your boy Jim Lee. You know how he does.
So is this an M or a W for Wayne on the bottom of his shoe?
Wayne,
I mean, he's just giving himself away.
Yeah, that's a little much. I always thought that was a little much, but there you have it. So you can get the original Hush. They've been reprinted, these foil variants. Absolute Batman issue 7. This is another one we got to get into. Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
This is that offshoot where Batman's basically a psycho. And then, dude, Superman Day is coming up, Adrian. Did you know about Superman Day?
I did not know about Superman
So
Day.
These, I don't even think I can sell these yet because it's not Superman Day, but there's 2 issues that we stocked, and this one is All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. So you can get this variant cover. This is for Superman Day.
The corn sweat version of the Superman.
Yes. And then there's this other one. This is Superman for All Season, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale. So of Long Halloween and the Daredevil yellow. So you can get this.
That's a little flashback to the 30s Superman.
Yes. Dude, look at this art in here. Nice bulky Superman.
Yep.
Traditional Tim
with the big
Sale art.
chin.
Yes. So we got these on there. This is my own personal Hush Deluxe edition. We can get these, so if anyone's interested, just drop a comment, shoot us an email, and so appreciate the orders this past week. There's more to come, but so we're gonna dig into Hush. I'm thinking Adrian in 2 weeks.
All right,
2 weeks. We'll give everyone a chance if you have the copy or if you want to get one from us or order your own, whatever. If you want to go through this kind of deep dive with us, have at it. But Hush, you can get many different versions on our website. And it's one of my personal favorite comic stories. Like, you read, when we did the movies comparison a year ago, that was the first time you've read Hush, right?
Yes.
You saw the movie before.
Yes.
And, dude, I think, like, people always ask where to start in comics. If you are a Batman fan at all and you've never dug into comics, Hush is a great comic to really get immersed in the world of Batman.
Okay.
Because you get a little bit of everything, right? Like most of his rogue gallery shows up in this series. It's like a 12 or 13 issue series. And I mean, you see Killer Croc in there, you see Joker, you see Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, the Riddler, this new villain, Hush. A lot of the Bat family's in there. Catwoman, we see a lot of their dynamic. Dick Grayson is already Nightwing. We see the Huntress, a handful of people that you don't see in a lot of other Batman comics. And it's a mystery crime story. Like, it's your traditional grounded Batman trying to figure out who this killer is. Jim Gordon plays a big role in this, Harvey Dent. So it's it's part of Batman's canon. Which I want to talk about, Adrian. So canon continuity is a big deal in comics, right? And I also think we talked about this before. If you have never read comic books and you're getting into them for the first time right now, it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
It can be overwhelming if you approach it like you would a movie series, right? Like I've never watched Game of Thrones, but if I started in season 3, I'd be an idiot, right?
Yep.
I should start at season 1.
Yes.
Now, comic books don't work that way. For the most part, because there's so, like, you're not going to go back and read the first issue of Detective Comics where Batman was in,
right,
and read 85 years of stories to be caught up with Batman.
Correct.
But if I'm watching Game of Thrones or The Sopranos or something, I'm an idiot if I don't start season 1, episode 1.
Well, comic books are encapsulated. So you have a story that could be 3 comics long, 15 comics long.
Yep.
But that's just a story over the history of this. So this is just an adventure over the history of this character. Game of Thrones, the story is the 7 seasons or 3 seasons or whatever. So you have to go back and start from the beginning. But in comic books, they're so encapsulated, they're so isolated, the stories, you can just pick up now. If you were to read, issue 3 in this week's story, you'd be kind of lost.
Right.
But if you just picked up this story that happened in 2025, knowing that he was created back in 1732, you're not going to be lost with who Batman was.
Correct.
So there's that dynamic. So a movie series is a little bit different than a comic in that the series is not encapsulated, is linear, right? Whereas the comic book is encapsulated, and you can pick up any storyline with any character, and there's this guy that does these things. Now, if you want to find out origins, then you can go back. You have the option of going back.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is it's not overwhelming.
No.
I like to almost create like my own continuity.
Sure.
And it works. I think this is probably the best way to approach it, because you're not like, you're a big Iron Man fan, but you don't like every Iron Man story or comic.
No.
Right. I'm sure there's ones you've read that you're like, dude, that sucked.
Right. You endure the middle stuff in order to get to the good stuff.
But if you were going to go on a binge, like, dude, I'm going to unplug for a weekend, I'm going to read, I want to deep dive into Iron Man comics, you may have a certain set of like, I'm going to read this, then I'm going to read this, then I'm going to leave that one out because that one's not good, or I just didn't like the way that story was. And that's how I approach. Like, I've done that with Batman. I have a series of like, I do start at year 1. I'll read Long Halloween, Dark Victory, get into Hush, get into, Under the Red Hood. Like, there's certain ones that I'll hit, and there's certain ones that I've never read or maybe read once or twice. It's like rewatching the MCU movies. Dude, I haven't done this in years, so there's so fucking many now. But I promise you, out of the 33, dude, I would probably leave like 10 of them out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like ones that I've either seen a bunch too much, or ones that just weren't that good. Like,
well, you might also have a situation where they're different stories, but they're similar to other stories.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go and read or watch this other thing because it's so similar to these 2 that you're already gone through. So
yeah, absolutely.
Kind of dismiss it.
To that point, it's like Dark Victory and Long Halloween. They're very similar stories. So I don't always read them both. I'll always read Long Halloween.
Sure.
Dark Victory, it's like sometimes. But my point is, like, you can make your own continuity, which I think, we're going to get into some reading lists as we get, this online store kind of pushed out. Like, even with Secret Wars, there's so, like, dude, you could read like 10 years of comics to lead up to Secret Wars if you really wanted to.
Right.
You could get, or call it 6 years. 2009 is when Hickman started on the Fantastic Four. And there are some plot lines, some stories, some seeds that were planted then that we see tie into Secret Wars of 2015. So 2009 to 15. He did Fantastic Four for, I think, 2 or 3 years, then was writing New Avengers and Avengers at the same time. We talked about this a little bit last week. And that he did that for probably 3 or 4 years before Secret Wars dropped in 15. And Secret Wars, you read just Secret Wars, great comic. But you could have literally read 6 years of comics to lead to that because all these things kind of tie in. But and that's one thing I'm working on with Secret Wars, is putting together kind of like, hey, a complete reading list and then also the essentials. right? Like, here's the bare minimum that you should read, but here's the complete list if you wanted everything.
So you're gonna create like a yellow brick road map of.
Yes.
Like it.
Call me Oz, Adrian.
Like-
Well, actually, no. Oz was the bullshit. He wasn't even. He was a
Right?
facade. Don't call me Oz.
Yep.
I'll be Dorothy. No. Anyways, we'll gender swap Dorothy. You think that'd be a good movie? Yo, we could gender swap Dorothy. I'll play Dorothy.
That'll be something. That'll be something.
Probably not. Phone's ringing. It's Hollywood. They want me, dude. You'll have to hold down a few weeks by yourself here, Adrian. I'll get you a part though. Too.
Sure.
We'll figure something out. I'll get them to race swap someone.
Yep. I'll play a tree shrub or some shit.
You got Kevin Hart, dude. Kevin Hart's gonna play the tree swap. Anyways, but yeah, I tend to do that, like, kind of create my own versions or hand pick a handful and hey, I want to read these in sequence. So that's my approach to it. Create your own canon. Anyways, Daredevil Born Again, Adrian, episode 8. That this coming week is the season finale.
Really?
Yes, out of nowhere, dude. Yep, episode 9, season. You kind of you sound a little down over there, Adrian. You didn't like this episode?
I like the episode.
Okay.
I'm just kind of, I won't say disappointed. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with the overall season itself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I'm on the other side. So this is what people you always agree. No, we don't. So I actually, dude, I'm liking this. Now, before I tell you why I like it, what are you disappointed in the season so far?
Just the overall speed of it.
Okay.
I understand, he's got to go through his moment of should I, shouldn't I, so on and so forth. It took a long time to get there. I think they could have done something a little early on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they just went through his origin story. But instead of how he became who he is, they went through why he's not who he used to be, and let's get him back to it. So to me, this season was like a drawn out origin story for his resurrection. And then, once you got into it, it was cool, the whole Muse thing. But you're getting into it, and then 2 or 3 episodes later, the season is over it.
Yeah. So there should have been more Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the critique I've seen. Now, I also think that I can't look at this as season 4 of Daredevil, right? This is season 1 of Born Again, and I think that not that I'm going to give him an excuse, Adrian, but I think that the reason why they did the show this way is to really take into account all the new viewers that maybe haven't seen the first 3, because this show is supposed to be for a new audience, but also for the audience that was there, because it's kind of pulling this character from this other universe, not a separate universe, but it was a different show. It's kind of a reboot. So I think there are people that maybe have not gone back and seen those first 3 episodes, first 3 seasons. To me, I think that's why they did it. I don't have as much of an issue with it. Now, I guess depends on next episode. Right. There's a lot riding on episode 9. Because of this slow burn, because it's like we need some Daredevil, we need some kick-ass moments, we need to see some shit hit the fan. It's been building. We've also seen with Marvel where they've done things like this, and then we had a show called Secret Invasion,
right? Where
we're like, all right, it's building, something's gonna, and then they just delivered the biggest fucking turd of an episode they could have created, But that show was subpar to begin with, or at that point. I don't feel that way about this show, but if this 9th episode doesn't go out with a bang, I would probably feel closer to how you feel.
So this was 8 that we're getting ready to review, right?
Yep.
And they got one more, and then it's out. Well, you saw how 8 ended, right?
Right.
So how much daredeviling is he going to do?
Yeah.
See, they should have did a Snyder and call this Daredevil C-section or something and get this shit started a little earlier, because it's like all the action, you got 9 episodes and then everything's happening, and like the last 2.5 or last 1.5 episodes.
Right.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, no, like I said, a lot riding on this last episode. We'll see. But I haven't disliked the show. I've liked it. My one critique would be, I wish there was some more Daredevil in there. But we also, I think with this past episode, we now learn that some of the shit that happened early on that we thought was just stuffed in nonsense is actually going to play into, because a lot of people said it felt like the first episode was just like a reshoot and didn't really fit. But now we're seeing, it plays a big part in this with the whole Vanessa.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of that chick, dude.
And
I got a prediction about that too.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right.
So, wait a minute, we deep diving now?
We're deep diving. All right. So this is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Daredevil Born Again episode 8, then fucking sit here and get it spoiled or go watch and come back. Isle of Joy is the name of this, okay?
Yes.
So first of all, before we deep dive, give this episode a rating, Adrian. 1 out of 10.
I would say 8.5.
Okay, all right. So you're higher on it than I thought.
No, I'm higher on it, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say 8.5 or 9. I think this is probably the best episode we've
Well, of course it's the best episode. all the rest of them have been like, 7, 7.5, 7.9.
Okay.
And then, this, of course, me saying this today. I don't know what I said last week.
Yeah, right? No, I'm pretty sure you were high in the last one too, Adrian. But anyways, so Isle of Joy, let's start with what did you like about this episode?
Pretty much all of it. I'm just except.
All right, yeah. What didn't you like then?
Fuck it. Vanessa, dude. It's like, come on, man. It's like, it's not that I can't be without you. I just can't be. I'm like, seriously, dude. Now, my prediction about that, well, I'll get to that later.
All right.
So that's what I didn't like about it, his obsession with Vanessa, regardless of what she does. Now, I was correct. We were correct about what happened to the guy in the last episode, Adam.
Yes.
He was posturing. She was tired of it, and she took him out.
Oh, Luca.
No,
yes.
Luca.
Yes. Yeah, we were right about that. Yes,
Yep.
we didn't think that she was set, even though they tried to. Now, Adam, this kind of starts with he shows her Adam.
Right.
And makes her fucking, like, anyone who said Fisk went soft, no. That is the opposite of soft. That is fucked up and savage, dude.
Right.
What'd you think about that?
Well, the fact that he did what he did, or the fact he brought Vanessa there to show.
He brought her.
So he was basically saying, hey, he did say, I told you I wouldn't kill him.
Yeah.
But,
right.
I knew the hands thing was going to come up.
Yes.
He's like, I can't, get over, thinking about him and his hands and all this other kind of shit. And then she just rolled right into that. She's a savage. And it's not that she's not a good character.
Yeah.
It's just that his Fisk's obsession with her is sickening.
Yes.
Right? So, and then, she understanding who he is, she just takes him out. But they had like a little prop, issue toward the end of that scene where they're hugging and you kind of looking between them to see Adam. Now, when she shot him, his head went all the way back.
Yeah.
But then when you see the final part, his head's propped up.
Anything for the shot, dude.
Anything for the shot.
But it was a cool shot.
It was.
Because they're backing up and it's focused on Adam and they're blurred out.
Right.
It was just, that's one thing about this show, dude. The cinematography has been phenomenal.
Right. That visceral, that bloody stuff.
And just a lot of cool looking shots. Like a lot of, they tells a lot of story with just the way things are shot and things of that nature. And we see your boy Blake, speaking of Gandolfini's kid, he's promoted to deputy mayor of communications, dude. And what's her name, dude? The black chick is not having it.
Right. She'll go away.
She's gonna have to.
I think it's going to be it's going to be an outright firing, or they're going to kill her because of what she doesn't really know anything other than outside of his mayor stuff. Right.
Yep.
And I think the kid is probably going to be brought in even more to kind of like protect him from all the things that he and his bulldog is doing. Yeah. But I think she's going to go one way or the other.
Yep. What I like about the story they're telling there is she's this kind of this old dog, right? Like this, this like, hey, this is how it's always been. This is how Paul, this is the mayor. And then you got Fisk, who is anti politics, right? It is funny how it kind of mirrors like what we see here in the White House a little bit, right?
There's
Someone
that.
who's not a traditional candidate. But anyways, he moves in, and this kid Blake is also like anti-establishment in a way. Like
Right.
the way he's got this, like that Gen Z, the way it's going to be different. Here's how we're going to do it. Who cares if that's how you did it for years, but this is what works now.
Right.
So I like that story they're telling there between the two of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like he's playing the character of like a mutt.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I came from nothing. So, and he said it with BB, who I think is going to get taken out too.
Oh man.
You know, like he says to BB, he's like, I've never been here before. She's like, I've never been here. He's like, me either.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's come up from nothing. So he really has nothing to lose.
No.
You know?
Which makes him dangerous.
Exactly.
And then Fisk has this ball. So his therapist, Glenn, gets invited, and Matt is not having it.
Right.
Actually, let's back up. Fisk puts Dex into Gen Pop in the jail.
Right.
So we were talking about, dude, we were talking about Dex last week. I'm like, he's going to come back up.
Yep.
Now, I thought he was going to join Fisk. I was wrong about that, but I'm like, he's going to show back up at some point. Here he is. And Fisk puts him in Gen Pop because he wants to kill him.
With apparently no repercussions.
Correct. Now, Matt shows up and he loses his shit with him.
Right.
Which I love that scene. And then obviously that ended up, being the catalyst for him escaping. But just Matt losing it, because he's been good this season. Like, he's kept his composure, even with remember the scene with Punisher where he hit him and he's like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But dude, he just lost it for a minute, fucked him up real quick, which then caused him to escape. How'd you feel about the prison escape scene?
It was cool that it happened, but it was just convenient.
Yeah.
It just felt overly convenient. He's like, thank you. He's saying thank you for something, right? So he loses a tooth. And of course, so there is no mutant in DC.
Yeah.
Everybody's a metahuman, right? But in Marvel, he would be a mutant. His ability to throw things or, direct things so precisely, even ricocheting things, that's a mutant level skill.
Okay. I in the comics, he has powers, Bullseye. And we don't know if he does or doesn't now at this point, because he was modified. If you remember season 3 of Daredevil.
Right, the spine.
The spine.
Matt threw him off the thing.
Correct. No, because, originally because Fisk broke his back.
Right.
And then that's why he survived when Matt threw him off the roof.
Correct.
But the other thing is that's all we know so far. Doesn't mean he wasn't enhanced in other ways, because we do know in Marvel, and especially the MCU, when doctors are operating on people, they love to fucking give them a super serum, give them this, do that. The government gets involved, and all of a sudden they're, enhancing it. So he could have other powers we don't know about.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure they had to give him drugs in order for that
Spine.
That spine replacement to take effect, right?
Right.
But he had skills even as a kid. Remember, he killed his coach.
Yes.
As a kid.
Yeah.
So he had those skills always.
So if they enhance those, now he's even more of a fucking problem.
Well, I mean, I don't think they can enhance that. They would probably enhance some other things like durability or strength or something like that.
We see this ball, which this was a cool scene, done real well. You talked a little bit about Blake and BB kind of being in awe about being there, and dude, this ball turns into a shakedown, dude.
Right.
It was funny. It's like, this is now. It's. I wouldn't say this is exactly what happens in business, but it is it's very similar.
Right. Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly, or maybe definitely. Not to that extent, but there's events and things, and there's all types of companies.
Sleight of
there
hand, winks,
correct.
Smiles, nods,
correct. Yep. Or even on things that are not are on the up and up. A lot of things are done in settings like this. But anyways,
sure.
So, but this was a shakedown, dude. Literally,
Absolutely.
like, it started with the swordsman, and he's shaking him down. The guy's like, no. He basically threatens him. Like, my task force is going to come see you.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden they're giving him money.
Right.
So now, not only is he the mayor, which he has been for most of the season, now he's got power.
Right.
He's got everyone in the fucking palm of his hands.
Right. What the kid say? He's like, look at these people. Half the people want to be in that room with him, and the other half is hoping that he doesn't get called to that room.
Absolutely. So Fisk really has a stronghold on the city right now.
Right.
He is officially kingpin again.
Yeah.
And then the dance scene. Mm-hmm. Yo, you got to give Matt some props, dude. Matt's like, fuck. He's just like, don't give a fuck in the season at this point.
Right.
My man cuts in, snatches up Vanessa.
Right. Yep.
But he starts putting two and two together. This kind of goes back to when they were at Josie's bar.
Right.
So Josie brought out the good stuff.
Yep.
And then she mentions that
Foggy.
Foggy was drinking that the night of he was killed. And he's like, wait, he only drinks that when he celebrates. Mm-hmm. So then he was like, oh, he was prematurely celebrating a win for the next day.
Right.
And somebody wanted him killed, thought it was Fisk, and then realized like, no, it was fucking Vanessa.
Right, because Fisk wasn't even in the picture at that point. He was still in prison or something, right?
Yeah. So it was.
I mean, not that he couldn't have reached out. But.
Sure. But we know, dude, Vanessa's just making a mess, dude. She's fucking shit up for everybody. Yep. And then he cuts in to Vanessa. Now, he asked her about it. He just completely denies it, right? Mm-hmm. It was funny, too, seeing, like, Fisk was like, wait a minute. Then he's, like, kind of dancing behind the therapist, but not. Mm-hmm. He even got the little Trump dance going down, too.
Exactly. But they eventually do end up dancing because now, Matt and Vanessa is talking and exchanging things, darts. And then Fisk starts dancing with the therapist, like, your boyfriend, this. And kind of start hinting at some things.
Even when it's Fisk and Vanessa dancing and Matt hits the dance floor, he obviously knows that Matt can hear him.
Right.
And remember, he kind of like said, like,
not here or something.
Yeah,
like that.
But he said something about him being a vigilante again. He fucking threatened him again.
Right.
Yep.
So he's dancing with Vanessa, and he's like, what is the devil doing, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But that didn't stop him from doing those shakedowns, though.
Correct.
So if he knows that he can hear like that, that definitely didn't stop him from doing the shakedown.
No, he didn't give a shit. Nope. Or did he know that Matt was at the party at that point? I think those may have been before. Because Matt got there late, remember? His girl was all pissed off. She's annoying me too.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, but it's like I don't want
No, fucking get Glenn out of here.
I prefer you to be the angry one first.
Fucking kick her out. No more. It's time. It's time to cut it loose, dude.
Right.
She's annoying me.
Exactly.
The whole pushing for him to let me talk to Daredevil type shit, or I saved myself. Bitch, fucking Daredevil saved. Not, you trying to be Snow White too? Right. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Badass. Fuck.
Go back a little bit about the task force. Fisk come out of one of the shakedowns, and this reporter's over there with his phone camera and shit being all obvious. Fisk like, hey, get him. Yeah. And they go, and then some of the task force go back there, and they got this guy, and he's about to dunk this his hand into this grease, and the commissioner comes out talking about, oh, this is bad behavior, blah blah blah. He's no, this is not bad behavior. This is bad behavior.
Yes.
And he's like, dude, I don't work for you anymore. I don't care what you say.
Right.
He's like basically telling them, you mean nothing to me, and then the rest of the task force come in there.
Yep.
So that was a show of force.
Yes. And dude, we're just getting started because now we know there's a whole second season already being filmed currently.
Right.
And as things always happen in movies, shows, stories, this is going to get worse.
Oh, absolutely.
This task force is going to be more of a savage. They're gonna cause more damage, and Fisk is going to continue to get more powerful.
Right.
But yeah, so
back to the dance.
And then of course, like it was funny. I was sitting there with my wife. I'm like, all right, you got Dex breaking out of prison. Of course he's going to show up at the party,
of course.
right? Like, why wouldn't
he avoided all the security in the universe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, which is not one of his skills, but he avoided it anyway.
Yep.
Got a gun, all this stuff. Leaning all over the gantry on the second floor.
Correct.
In the view of everybody. But he's able to take a shot.
He's in there, dude. He's able to take a shot. One other thing, back up a little bit, BB and Blake, one thing I've been wondering the whole season is, does she know that Fisk killed her uncle?
Well, she strongly suspects, besides the commissioner basically said that.
Yeah.
He said, you understand that Fisk was the number one suspect in your uncle's death.
Right, which she said yes.
Yes.
So we know that she knows.
And then she said, why do you think I'm trying to take down this White Tower or some shit like that?
Correct.
She'll get killed.
Yes. And actually, that's another thing we didn't talk about. The interaction with her and the commissioner. He basically told her where to get the info. He's like, I'm not going to tell you. Like, I can't say it, but you can get it. Or no, she said that she has other names that she publishes things under.
She has basically a pseudonym that she publishes under, so she doesn't have to publish any information under herself. And he says, I have a file on everybody in the task force.
Yeah, so it's interesting there.
Yeah.
It's almost like this season should have been longer.
Oh, it absolutely should have been longer.
Right? Like, or hopefully there's not a big gap between season 1 and 2.
Right.
You know, maybe they're going to leave on a cliffhanger and we'll be back, but, you know, before... I'd love to see season 2 in the next 6 to 8 months. We probably won't.
Right.
Probably be a year later, but unfortunately, it seems like we're going to be left on a big cliffhanger, which is good and bad. I mean, interested in the next season, but I really hope we see some Daredevil badassery in the next.
Hey, Disney, drop us a Christmas special.
Yeah, Daredevil Christmas. There you go.
Or Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Or Halloween. No, that's Batman's time.
That is Batman's time, dude. You're right, 100%. But Dex arrives and he takes a shot at Fisk, dude.
Right.
Matt hears this, and then it kind of came full circle because when Dex was in jail and Matt went to go see him, he mentioned something about like you'll protect your worst enemy type shit.
Right.
And then we saw that happen right there where he literally takes a bullet for Fisk, which is wild.
Right.
Fuck that. Let him get shot. He's got to be the hero. I know.
Well, so my predictions and theories about that. My theory about why Matt did the bullet thing is because Fisk, he's playing chess along with Fisk.
Yes.
So if Matt is the blind lawyer, right, that took the bullet for the mayor's probably going to be a little reluctant to reveal that he's Daredevil. The guy who protected him. So you got this blind dude took a bullet for me, and now I'm going to tell you that he's Daredevil. So he's probably going to be, a little bit more reluctant to do that. Number one. Number two, I think eventually Matt, because he's the dick that he is, right?
Yeah.
He's going to reveal to Fisk that Vanessa, the reason that you're having all these problems with me is because my best friend got killed by your wife. Mm-hmm. And I think Fisk is going to not be so enamored by Vanessa at some point.
Yeah.
I think that's where this is going.
They're going to have a divide.
Yeah.
Because he's not always with her in the comics.
No.
There's a comic where he marries, matter of fact, in Devil's Reign, he's married to Typhoid Mary.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not, Vanessa ain't for life, dude.
No. As a matter of fact, the whole time I was reading comics, I never saw Fisk with a wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, early on.
I mean, I didn't really get into Fisk himself.
Right.
But
I even remember some comics where Fisk was kind of a little bit of a player, too. He was a ladies' man, Adrian. Yeah. That big old sumo body, dude.
That's it.
Maybe he's a Johnny Storm,
Dear Foreigner, what is it? Dear Foreigner Reno or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
Vinny D.
Vinny D.
He's looking better in his clothes. I'll say that.
There was a couple... And now that I look back, maybe those were reshoots where he maybe lost some weight.
Yeah.
Because he definitely looks more Fisk-like in the rest of these. It was really just that second season episode.
Right.
Where he sat down and the fucking suit was all big on him and shit. Or maybe the wardrobe just fucked up that day. I don't know.
Hey, Janet Jackson moment.
A little malfunction. So far, actually not, let me ask you this. Should there have been more Daredevil in Born Again so far?
Absolutely.
Should Foggy's death be final?
Yes.
Because there's rumors, Adrian, there's talk out there, there's scuttlebutt that because if you notice when he asked Vanessa about the death, she just said, relax, calm down. There's a whole rumor out there or a thought that maybe Foggy's still alive and they somehow faked his death. I don't know for what, but
well, maybe he'll come back with superpowers too. Now, if he comes back, then Karen comes back.
Yes,
and I think that's probably why they would do something like that.
Yeah.
So instead of Bullseye, killing him with an actual bullet. Maybe it was some kind of bullet that slowed his heart down, things like that. I mean, that's plausible.
And now they have him in captivity somewhere, like in Adam or something.
Correct.
Like, not like he's alive and hiding on his own.
Right.
I'm thinking, if that's the case, he's alive and they have him.
Correct.
And then maybe that's a reveal we see next week, and then second season is about him saving his friend.
Right.
Possibly.
Right. If you see a bearded shadow in a cell somewhere, it's Foggy.
It's Foggy.
I mean, and I'm all for them doing that.
Yeah.
And also bringing Karen back. I think that's a missing piece in all of this as well.
So let me ask you again then, should Foggy's death be final?
Should it be final? No.
No. Okay.
Well, I don't give a shit either way. I mean, they've already killed him off, and then they've run, 8 episodes without him and Karen. So I'm kind of over the Karen Foggy component. But it would be cool if they bring him back.
It would be. And I would say that is like I really like this show so far, but I do miss the Foggy, Matt, Karen dynamic.
Right.
I really do.
Even though you didn't like the actor to play Foggy in the first place.
Even though I think, what's that say? Distance something? I don't know. Anyways, but makes the heart grow fonder.
Absence make the heart grow fonder.
Yes, that's absence makes the heart grow fonder, Adrian. I miss my boy Foggy now,
Yep.
And I've been reading some Daredevil comics, so seeing him in the comics and the dynamic with Karen, because in the comics Karen ends up being killed by
Bullseye.
Bullseye, which ends up being a huge part of Matt's kind of character's growth too, is dealing with this loss now. Right.
But I mean, Karen and Foggy is also one of those characters like the Jim Gordons, the Alfreds that help shape and contain Daredevil. Right. I mean, because you see where he's going without him.
Yes.
This dude is going off the hinge.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, that is the Daredevil Born Again episode 8 review. Anything we left out, Adrian? Anything else you want to say?
Well, not about that, but I just realized that, looking at this book, Batman Hush, this is the 20th anniversary edition.
Yeah.
And I just happened to notice that what was it, Batman Returns or whatever, the first Christian Bale movie.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
Yep.
2005, so that's also 20 years old. Movie.
Yes.
20 years old, dude. That's crazy.
That is, you're right. 100. Yeah, Batman Begins 05. Yeah, wow, the 20th-year anniversary, which is actually in June 15th it was released. Look at that. Oh, man.
Damn.
We have to revisit that movie for June, Adrian.
Something.
Yeah, we give it Batman Begins. That is actually a great movie, by the way. Batman Begins. I think it's better than the Batman, the one with fucking Tom Hardy's Bane. I think Batman Begins is a better movie than that.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Speaking of Batman, speaking of Daredevil, Adrian, I'd said this a few weeks ago that Batman would defeat Daredevil, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure you agreed. You remember this?
Yes.
There were a handful of my friends, I use that word loosely, my friends on TikTok that are like, there's no way how's that going to happen? So I figured, Adrian, for Versus this week, since the March Madness tournament's over, we were going to we'll do a little revisitation of Daredevil versus Batman. So before I even bring this up, you still think Batman beats Daredevil? Okay. Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, first of all, they're both non-powered guys, right?
Yep.
However,
you think Daredevil has powers? Huh? You wouldn't call Daredevil's hearing thing powers?
Well, when I think of powers, I think of things like speed, endurance, healing powers, things like that. Yeah, he's got his little bat wave thing going on, his little radar thing going on, and that does allow him some advantages in situations that don't have you confronting Batman, who is a master of several martial arts, who during these martial art training had learned to hide his heart, hide his mental state from telepathy, block his mind from mental telepathy. He's learned to control his body to such a degree that he could probably hide most of this from Matt Murdock's, his hearing and his radar and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that, so let's start at it this way. They're both basically regular guys when it comes to strength. So nobody's gonna snap each other, crush each other or pull them apart or so on and so forth. They're both prone to projectiles, right? Can get shot, can get stabbed, things like this. Now, fighting skills, Batman, far and above, right? Master of all these. I mean, he's basically
over 100 forms of martial arts. He's
basically, yes.
Yeah.
He's an assassin killer, basically, right? Now, Daredevil has had interactions with assassins due to Elektra, but he wasn't trained by assassins, right? Number one. Number two, weapons. Batman has a complete arsenal on his belt.
Right.
Daredevil has a staff, right?
It's a couple sticks. He's got a couple sticks,
exactly,
dude.
Exactly. Number three, Batman has fought so many different types of people. Not only, Daredevil thus far has fought street thugs, basically. And some ninjas.
Yeah.
Those are exceptional people. But when you get into like Killer Croc, Bane,
Superman,
Bizarro. Just all kinds of weird shit, right? Aliens, this interdimensional stuff, sorcerers. So his skill set not only encompasses his fighting skills, but his exposure to the varying types of situations that he's had to be in. In his mind. His mind is so analytical and so far ahead. I mean, he's not playing checkers. He's not playing chess. He's playing 3-dimensional cosmic chess in every situation. So for those things alone, and I'm sure there's some stuff that I'm missing, right? But besides that, he has the money aspect. Now, he's not going to throw a $100 bill at him if they meet up on a street corner, but if there's any preparation that's involved, he has unlimited resources. Matt doesn't. So just for those first three things alone, for the first thing alone, the fighting skill thing, he would defeat Daredevil.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the fighting. Now I do, I see the argument of Daredevil's ability. He'd have a better idea of where Batman's coming from with these attacks, but to your point,
whistle. That's all Batman needs.
Yes,
a whistle. It'll overpower his hearing, which will be he'd be on the floor, in fetal position in pain, and Batman just comes over there.
Right.
Well, he won't kill him. He'll just knock him out and send him to Arkham or some shit. Right. Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, Batman. He's a ninja. I think that's what's lost on a lot of people too. Is Batman's a ninja, dude. He's not just like some big ass boxer guy. He's a fucking ninja.
Right.
And he uses the smoke bombs a lot with, normal opponents. But with Daredevil, smoke bomb ain't gonna do shit.
Nope.
But he's got flashbangs.
Yep.
Which is gonna fuck him up.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen him just getting hit in the ear. I mean, my man had to recover for weeks in a church because somebody busted his eardrum.
Exactly.
Ultrasonic emitters. He's used these against plenty of big villains. Tear gas, things like that are also
some kind of smell that could decapacitate him.
Which those are all things he just has right in his bag. So once you do that, so flashbang, Daredevil senses are out of it. Now it's just straight hand-to-hand combat. Batman's teeing him off, dude.
Well, it's not straight hand-to-hand combat because he needs those senses to be able. That's his equilibrium,
right?
Because so if you take out his hearing and or his radar sense, he's just standing there, waiting to get hit.
My point is, he's got no radar anymore,
right?
So now he's just a blind dude getting his ass whooped.
Exactly.
And now. I agree with you from a hand-to-hand combat standpoint. Daredevil is a badass, but Batman's hand-to-hand combat badass times 100. I mean, literally is a master of over 100 different techniques.
And besides the techniques, you have to figure out how to defeat the Green Lantern, the Flash, everybody on the Justice League. You have a way to defeat them, and you can go hand to hand with any of them. Aquaman, which is a underwater version of Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yep.
I mean, fucking what's his name? With the laser beam eyes that follow you around.
DC or Marvel?
DC. What's his name? He's the oh my God. Anyway, we'll get back to him. So he's had to learn how to defeat all of these people with his skill set.
Right.
Now, that pushes him beyond just the 100 types of martial arts that he knows. He's had to figure out that shit in combination in order to defeat these basically aliens.
Right. Yeah, so I think off the bat, Daredevil is going to have faster reflexes because of this power. But
Nope.
You don't think so?
That's not a power. His reflexes are honed, like a gymnast.
Yeah.
His powers isn't faster reflexes or endurance or durability. His powers are his radar sense and enhanced senses, touch, so he can know that his psychologist is on being painted with blood,
right?
Smelling everything but seeing, hearing, things like that. So he's not an exceptional acrobatic because he has some superpower. That's just training over time, like Robin.
Right. But my point is, with this sonar, he can hear something coming quicker than you can see it, so it's going to allow him to react quicker.
Yes.
But again, any little gadget that Batman uses to throw that off, that's then out the window.
Right.
And now it's just, man to man, which Batman's going to fuck him up.
Right.
It's really no contest at that point.
Yep.
Once Batman figures out that, and that's the other thing, would Batman know that he's using this sonar? I mean, he'll use a smoke bomb, it doesn't work. Well, the next one's going to be a flash bomb.
Right.
Like he process, that one didn't work. All right, fuck, use this.
And you got to understand that this is going to be relatively quickly. So assuming that he doesn't do research at all, this is just a straight up, street fight. Yeah. Met on the corner, it's a street fight. He will eventually figure out his weakness very quickly because that's what he does.
Yeah. Now, some comic feats here, right? So Daredevil has beat Iron Fist in sparring. He has dropped a full hand Death Squad solo. We've even seen this in the shows, right? Now, Batman, forget about him fighting Superman, all that shit. He's one-punched Killer Croc. Like, after softening his joints, like, with literally one hit, he's done.
Right.
He's fought Lady Shiva to a stalemate twice. She's a badass.
She's a badass.
So I even those couple things I'd put Batman. I think Batman's stronger than him. Right? Like right off, just forget about any tech. He's physically stronger than Daredevil.
Yes.
Bigger.
Yep.
Not that always is an advantage, but I think he's more versatile. I think that he also, all these different fighting styles, he's figured out a way how to mix them fluidly.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm going to switch to this, switch to that. He has his own fighting style, which is a blend of all these 100+ that he's a master.
Exactly. Dark Side. That's the guy. Okay. That Dark Side.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, I think. If they fight 10 times, I think Batman wins 8 of them.
They fight one time. Daredevil's not going to fight him twice.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to say about Daredevil Born Again, the reason that he took that bullet.
Yep.
So, and both of these cats are in the same thing, right? They are some pill popping, drug injecting, because they have to.
Matt and Bruce.
Yep. Their bodies are just tore up, right? Yep. So I think Matt also was willing to take that shot because he's used to the pain, dude.
True.
I mean, he's been, filleted by these various ninjas and, falling off a building. So he's accustomed to. So with that, I don't think his recovery is going to be, not his recovery, but his being able to get back into the Daredevil suit and do something. I don't think it's going to be a long period of time. He'll probably do it while he's still bleeding, stitched up and stuff. So I think he took the shot because first of all, he can position himself so it looks bad, but it's not really bad.
Correct.
Right? Because he's tracking the bullet pretty much, or at least the angle when it comes out. Yeah. And the fact that he's so used to pain that this is just another thing to him.
He probably likes it. He's like, man, I haven't had pain in like a week. Shit, shoot me. You're right here. Get me. But that's a good point because with his ability, he can track exactly where that bullet's going and position himself so that it doesn't hit any vital organs. Right. But yeah, it's going to look, horrific. So, hey, sorry, but with all that being said, Daredevil, Batman's still whooping your ass, bro. That's it. Sorry about that. Now, they both kind of have this no-kill rule. But I think Batman's is I don't want to say it's more important. Now, I think in the Daredevil show, we've seen that be a big piece of his character. But I've seen comics where I'm like, dude, he killed that guy.
Yeah.
Like more on Daredevil side than Batman. You know, do you think? Actually, I'll ask you this on Agreed. I'm gonna hold this question, Adrian, for later because I've asked you before if you think Batman should kill, and you pretty much say no.
No, that's not true. I think he should have took Joker out a long time ago.
Yeah, okay, you have said that, but the no kill rule you usually support. All right, well, hey, we'll find out. We'll find out later. We'll table that discussion, as they say, Adrian. But I'm after this episode. Now you got me going back. We're talking about Daredevil versus Batman. Yes, Batman whips his ass. That's it. End of story. Sorry, Matt. Fucking go back to the gym or something. I don't know. You know what? Just don't fuck with Batman.
That's it.
Just have one rule for every comic book character: is don't fuck with Batman.
That's it.
You want to fuck with Robin, you want to fuck with Red Hood, you want to mess with Cyclops, that's fine.
Right.
Don't fuck with Batman.
There you go.
Live by that, dude, you'll be all right. So, anyways.
Matter of fact, don't even ask him for permission to go to Gotham to fuck with him. Just stay out.
Just stay home, dude. Stay home. All right, Adrian, we got some We Respond. I'm going to start with our intern. Shout out to all the interns out there. Mark Wing Duck says, hey, Mike and Adrian, with the way they rushed the DCEU in kind of panic because of the success of the MCU, I always thought the best way they should have done it was to do a load of individual hero movies, maybe have a crossover character here and there, and then do a slow build to Justice League. Absolutely.
Yep.
And could have done the death of Superman correctly, yes. Giving us a comic-accurate Doomsday, not a reject from the Ninja Turtles that Zack Snyder gave us. Yes. And they could have had a huge funeral for Superman with all the League members, not just Batman and Wonder Woman. Yeah, I mean, I agree with just about all that. It would have been nice. Like, they did have the opportunity, or with, like, we joke a lot about the Snyder Cut, but I do think that given time building this thing out, Snyder could have created a nice universe and story. I just think it was too rushed. I really do.
I think if they would have kept Ezra Miller out of it, it would have changed the whole dynamic of the thing, the visuals of it.
Yeah,
it's almost like you change one thing, and a lot of people are like, just replacing one actor wouldn't have impacted that. I absolutely believe if they would have left Ezra Miller out, it would have been a completely different thing.
Yeah. OG Dirte says, guys, I'm pissed off with Disney representation of Marvel characters. I think it's time for me to stop watching Disney Marvel. Wow. I'm pretty sure you've seen the news of Fantastic Four. I did. We talked about it. Human Torch, Sue Storm, gender politics. I just don't think that's that big of a deal. Even the Daredevil TV series, my opinion, has not been good, but I'll get into that in another comment. I've been a Marvel fan since I was born. Wow. And this is not the Marvel comics I've ever read. How Marvel Rivals gets it right, but not $1 billion company. Okay. I respect your opinion, OG, but I think that comics have evolved and changed over the years. Like they're going to continue to, and I think with a lot of things, sometimes myself included, we get caught up in what our era was.
Right.
And when it changes, we're like, I don't want, like, there's comics too that are, because of when they were written, I won't read them because I just can't get into the artwork, the style. So I'm sure there's people from that era that are probably like, dude, I prefer these older ones.
And I'm one of them.
You're one of them. Yeah.
There's certain comics I won't read today because of the art.
Yeah. So now also, from a character representation standpoint, concepts, what plot lines, those have changed over the years too. I mean, there was some early comics, there's racial shit, there's homophobic stuff in them. You don't see that now, as you shouldn't. So it's, I get it. Like if it's characters that, you really adore, you connect with, and they've changed core elements. But to me, what they're changing with Human Torch and Sue Storm is not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I disagree about they shouldn't be showing the racial homophobic stuff. I think they should because hate is like the wind, right? You don't see it, but you feel it.
Right.
So that means it exists. And, trying to push it under is only going to make it more hidden and so we're not dealing with the problem.
Right.
We just kind of, just go away kind of a deal, but it's still there.
What I should have said was the accepted race. Like you'd have like good guy characters saying racist shit.
Right.
that like it was just the norm, you know. That stuff I think it's good. But I agree, like Sinister, Mr. Sinister, for example, in the comics, he's racist.
Right.
Like in the we've only seen him in like animation, but he hates mutants, but we never see that side of him as well.
And mutants are representative of what? Exactly.
Depending on what era, Jewish, black people, minorities, whatever, you know, but it's been a analogy for basically oppressed people in general. So yeah, I agree. I think it should, but I'm glad it's not done in a way where it was in the past where it was like accepted. Like it's okay to call people those names.
Correct.
But to your point, I that's why you can't remove it completely, you know, but it's like, you know, Batman, Daredevil comics, most of the time they're beating up like pedophiles and shit like that. Right. Like they don't stray away from that stuff happening. They just show you this is what we should do to those people.
Exactly.
Let's see. Moses G57. Do you think they'll ever bring onomatopoeia into any DC projects? Who the fuck is that? I've never even heard of this character. Have you?
It sounds familiar, but the name is so ridiculous. I obviously wouldn't have even investigated it.
So I'm going to say no, just based off of the fact that I've never even heard of this character. Let's see. Onomatopoeia is a severely underused character, supervillain appearing in Marvel DC Comics, enemy of Green Arrow and Batman. Martial artist. No, never even heard of this guy. So no, I don't think so, bro. Let's see. DJ Super Soldier. Man, Daredevil Born Again was wild, but I'm kind of bummed about how fast Muse got taken out. That was way too quick. I think he'll be back, dude, at some point with that potential. But if not, I agree. It was kind of wasted. He said,
damn, dude, like everybody in your world is resurrected, Foggy, the Muse.
It's comics, Adrian. You said the only person who stays dead in comics is Uncle Ben. That's it. Everyone else comes back, dude. Jean Grey's come back. Professor X's come back. Logan's come back. I mean, all of them.
Well, the fact that they've all died at some point.
Superman died and came back, right? So, anyways, DJ also says, let's be real. Haley Atwell is fire. Yes. She can come back in whatever role she damn well pleases. Agent Carter was actually a good show, especially for being one of the earlier shows. I've heard it was good. I just never seen it. Not going to lie, I'm a little skeptical about Spider-Man Brand New Day. They've announced the release date, but they're still casting. Sounds like a delay waiting to happen. Wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're still casting or they're just releasing cast members now to you know what I mean?
Right,
like some of these, they've probably been done and just not announced it. And DJ, I'm never surprised when movies get pushed back. I'm surprised when they hit their original deadline.
Yeah.
Especially with Marvel. Let's see. Loving the merch shop editions. You guys do an awesome job. You can tell you're really building something special here. Definitely planning to cop some stuff soon. Peace and love always, gents. And we are, dude. We are trying to build something special. We're not going to rush it like the DCEU. So we're here for a long time, Adrian.
Yep.
Not a good time. Pure Venom. Yo, Mike and Adrian, another great episode. Just finished up episode 8 of Born Again. And man, what are y'all, clairvoyant? Can't wait for the season finale. Yes, we are. Is that one of our mutant abilities? I can't keep track anymore.
They keep evolving.
They are. I think we're clairvoyant. We must be. So, Jay shot it. What up, Mike and Adrian? Love the debate on Jean versus Wanda. You guys covered every aspect. Yeah, you can check that out. Go back to last week and find out, who wins the finale.
Was it last week or the week before?
It was last week, dude.
Yeah,
it was a long week. Yes.
Yeah, we just traveling speed of light.
It's that multiversal stuff, dude. Daredevil episode 8 was fire. Yes, and the fact that Bullseye tells Matt only a good man protects his enemies in the beginning. That was the exact quote. Yeah. And that ends the show. That's just good writing, dude. Good storytelling. Maple Grove, as usual, a great episode. I got my intern shirt on Monday, superhero style. Nice. And he's overseas, dude. I got to rep the interns while I'm in my paid job. I know, it's fucking jobs, dude. Also, ever since Adrian's hidden gem on Spawn, I've really wanted to get into his comics. Do you have any recommendations? I don't, because I've only done a toe dipping. I've probably watched more animation on Spawn, but I can get some Image comics. So I'm going to do a deep dive, and we're going to come up with some type of reading guide for Spawn, too, because I'd love to dive into his shit.
Yeah.
Also, Adrian, if you want a better hidden gem than Nightwatch, you should do Daken Akira, Wolverine's son. We've got this one a few times. Daken, Daken. Now he's saying it's better than Nightwatch, which
that's not saying much.
You can do a hidden gem on me; it'd be better than Nightwatch, Adrian.
Right?
That's the hidden gem today. Me, Skeletor, Triple X. Wow, you're getting all nasty up in here, Skeletor. Hey guys, due to the time difference, you make my Tuesdays great. Okay, so we're making Mondays great again and Tuesdays great again, dude. It's just a lot of work. I have a question. What is your favorite Spidey story? Great show as always. Favorite Spidey story? I mean, that the Gwen Stacy's one that stands out to me right off the bat. Is my favorite Spidey story. And then if I was looking from a movie standpoint, I really like Spider-Man 2. The OG with Doc Ock, and then of the newer ones, No Way Home.
Yeah.
Any that stand out to you?
Yeah, I like the Doc Ock thing.
Yeah.
What's his face is Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, from the first Spider. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Comic book wise, I mean, Spider-Man's always
He's everywhere.
Yeah,
dude.
it's just you just pick up something random.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Now, Civil War, it's not his story, but he plays a big part of that. That's a good comic run that leading up to Secret Wars is a big big story that should be read. But John, speaking of our boy Nightwatch, John Bonvon, he says, I love it. Exactly. A Spawn ripoff. Try one of these characters, Max. Oh, no, John, you are on timeout from Hidden Gems right now. Okay. You're gonna need like a couple of weeks of a break. All right. So, but we love you, bro. Blackest Night was my favorite run that encompassed all of DC's comics. So good. I've not read that, John. That's a good recommendation. Captain Canada, another week, another banger. My favorite two dudes to watch every week. No Diddy, yes. I agree. 7.8 for last week's Daredevil. I sure hope Muse comes back. It was too quick. I hope your boy Donald doesn't change his mind with the tariffs. We need more fresh. Yeah, dude. He's got to slow down with the tariffs to the countries that we have fans.
Exactly.
In, you know?
Exactly.
Like, God, we get some people in China. He's gonna have to stop that one too.
Well, the tariffs affect stuff coming in, not the stuff going out.
Oh, okay, true.
So I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, so you're good, Captain Canada. Don't worry about it. He says, I agree with Sons of Sekhmet. Oh, so there's another comment in here. I'll wait till we get to that because I got them out of order. Anyways, he says that my 31st birthday is on Wednesday. Accepting gifts and other stuff will do. Well, there you go, dude. Well, hey, man, happy early birthday, Captain Canada. That dude Pablo, first episode as usual, even though my girl Wanda, fire episode as usual, even though my girl Wanda lost. I know. I agree with you on Hickman's run. Probably about a month ago, I picked up his Fantastic Four, both Avengers comics and Secret Wars. Nice. I just wrapped up Secret Wars today, and needless to say, he cooked with that run. So my question is, what are we reading next? That's a good question. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a poll on Monday. So actually, by the time y'all are watching this, we're going to list a handful and let y'all decide. I mean, we are definitely going to dig back. We've talked about Hush. We're going to dig back into that, but that's an easy one we've already read. So we'll put out some suggestions. And then real soon, I think that, all of us are going to take this ride on the Secret Wars journey. So we'll start with a handful of these. I know you've already done that, Pablo, but I think a lot of the other interns have not. But so we'll drop some suggestions and you guys can vote on that. Brandon Jones says, Mr. Mike, I'm so with you on Matt feeling that painting was pretty fucking dumb. Yes, it was. It was ridiculous. Oh, my girlfriend. Knock it off. Next, he's going to start fucking feeling the TV and watching movies and shit.
Haters.
If Adrian had the soundboard, we'd be getting this. Yeah. He says, but considering that was the first nitpick I've had with the show, I'd say they're doing fantastic. Yeah, I agree with that. Sure. By the way, you guys should definitely put Punisher Max on the marketplace. At least the first issue, definite sale right there. So, Brandon, I looked into Punisher Max. I can get the omnibus of Punisher Max, which is, I think it retails for $100. So if anybody does want it, I can get them and we can sell them for $80. So I guess let me know on that. I do want to read Punisher Max. I've heard a lot of good stuff about that. Max was a adult line of comics that Marvel came out with. I don't know if they still do it or not. And they did a Jessica Jones series in there, which is actually what they based a lot of the first season on, Kilgrave and all that. Yeah. And then the Punisher Max is another one I've heard a ton of people suggest that's a good story. So
Max is like After Dark?
Pretty much. It's like their other stuff, Adrian.
Got it.
Yes. So, yeah, I guess, Brandon, let me know. If you want that, I can definitely get those. If anybody else does, let me know. And then Sons of Sekhmet says, hey, guys, thanks for another great episode. Was wondering if you would do groups for the Versus segment, like Alpha Flight versus Excalibur or West Coast Avengers versus New Mutants. That's a good one.
Yeah. And see, what's interesting is that all those names of groups most people probably never heard of.
Correct.
You know, West Coast Avengers, Alpha Flight, Excalibur.
Yeah.
So I like that.
That's a good one. So maybe we do a little. It won't be as big of a bracket because we got teams, but maybe we do like I don't know, a 12-team bracket or something.
Yeah, but we got to do some kind of a lead in because a lot of people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But then you got to kind of do like a breakdown of each character in the team so that you can kind of understand what the power set of the team is. And then get into the brackets.
I like it. Kind of like a deep dive like we did last week. So it'd be a lot less teams, but we'd move a little slower with it. So yeah, it's a good idea. You know what? We're going to take that into consideration, Sons of Sekhmet. But yeah, I don't see why not. Let's see. We got a couple. So those were all the interns. Appreciate all the interns. Now let's take a look at some of the other comments. Ryder fan says, great episode as always. Just wanted to say, Adrian, that I finished Hickman's Fantastic Four, and oh my fucking God, Franklin is such a badass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he is. And you've not even read that Hickman's run. No. I was seeing if you had any more issues or storylines that you could recommend that showcase Franklin's true power. I would love to see read more. Keep up the great work. I don't, because I'm not as big of a Fantastic Four guy. I will tell you this. I don't know, when you say you've read his run on Fantastic Four, I don't know if you read his Avengers run into Secret Wars, but in Secret Wars, Franklin's not a big piece of it, but you do see, you see how powerful he is at some point in that story. Is there any that pop off to you, or at least an era, or like when were you reading a lot of Franklin?
It was just back in the day when I first got into it. But what I can say is this, you know, when you do a lot of research, if you go to like, I think it's Fandom, or maybe that's the DC one. But anyway, there's comic book resources. So if you look up Franklin Richards, don't go to the Wikipedia one, right?
Yeah.
There's another one. But then at the bottom, it tells you like where they showed up in TV and comics and things like that. So that would be a great resource to go back and see where he. That way you don't have to kind of figure out where he was. They'll tell you all of his appearances.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. The No More The I'm probably butchered that name. Talking about Wanda and Jean in the comics, the Phoenix Force is the culmination of all life that has been and ever will be. Jean Grey with the Phoenix Force destroyed an entire galaxy. Okay. That being said, Wanda did House of M, No More Mutants, and then in the Krakoa Age comics, Wanda created heaven for mutants, like an actual heaven for mutants to go to when they died. It's no contest. Wanda would destroy Jean and put her in the heaven she created. And also, I've been glad to be watching your guys' show again. Love the show. Well, I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I mean, that could happen, but it didn't happen here. So, but I mean, we talk so much about how powerful both. It really could go either way, to the point where you were even on the Wanda side up until the very end. Right. So. Let's see. Collector's Arcade, yet another great episode. Hidden Gem suggestions. Shang-Chi. That's a good hidden gem.
Yeah.
Loved the movie, but they did this man dirty as far as his hands were concerned. He's known as Marvel's greatest hand-to-hand fighter. He's even trained Spider-Man, creating a new fighting form called the Way of the Spider that is tailored to Peter's ability. Okay. Did you know much about Shang-Chi before you saw the movie?
No, not at all.
Me neither. But sounds like, I mean, I did hear that before, that he is the greatest hand-to-hand fighter in Marvel. So I wonder how he'd do against, Batman. Probably get his ass whooped.
A quick reference. So Franklin Richards, right?
Yep.
If you go to marvel.fandom.com,
Yep.
They're not sponsoring now, no coffee, no nothing. But anyway, just trying to help you out.
Yeah.
If you go all the way down to the bottom under links and references, I mean, they got a whole shitload of links that reference Franklin Richards from first appearance all the way through. So if you just start at the top and go down, you'll get all that you need about Franklin Richards. Yeah. And also, if you want to find out about any other kind of character, don't try to read a bunch of comics and figure out where they showed up. Just go to their profile page at the bottom. It'll tell you where they showed up.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've read a lot of Franklin. What is, in your opinion, one of the most impressive things that you've seen him do in comics with his powers?
Just creating a universe in his closet as a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which is just tells you the vastness of his powers.
Right. And just you don't really get it because, as an embryo, he's in his mother and he's siphoning his mother's power, her life force,
Right.
you know, just to kind of keep himself alive. So basically, unconsciously, he's in survival mode, and he's going to take whatever he needs from wherever he needs to exist, right?
Yeah.
But then he comes out, and then you kind of see most kids, they sneak out the house. I'm just going to create a little pocket universe in my closet.
Right,
Now,
right.
when he did that, he didn't just create the universe, right? He created beings within that universe. So it was a whole ecosystem going on.
That's crazy.
And he was like 3 or 4 or something like that, or maybe 7 or 8. But anyway,
Yeah.
he was a kid in his room, in his closet, creating a universe.
Craziness.
Impressive.
Let's move on to some Spotify comments before we get into Hidden Gems. So we got C says, another banger episode. I got to ask y'all, why is it so effing hard for Marvel to make a Blade movie? Got to be pretty straightforward. Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know
that. It seems like a layup. Russell Dowis says he was rooting for Wanda. Love the tournament. Probably my favorite segment you guys have done so far. I can't wait for more. Well, hey, Russell, let us know what you think about the team versus. Now he says maybe a tournament to see who's the best character is, not necessarily who's strongest, but from a best writing standpoint. Okay. Memo Garcia says, great episode. Did you ever play X-Men Legends back in the PS2 days? I have not.
Nor have I.
Let's see. Did you... Walla West says, great episode. Did either of you ever collect Marvel trading cards? I learned a lot about the characters that way. I did. You remember, I think Fleer had Marvel cards in the 90s. You ever collect these or no?
No, I just bought, back then it was called Marvel Universe. That's how I learned about all the characters.
Like an encyclopedia type thing or something? Yep. Got it. Devin says, completely agree with Mike. I thought the exact same thing when he touched the painting. The fake blood feels exactly like my girl's nose. Get the fuck out of here. Yes. And
wow.
then,
I'm feeling the hate, man.
Yeah, yep. What else? We got Majin Dill. Hey, Mike and Adrian. Majin Dill, assuming you mispronounced my name, don't disrespect. I definitely mispronounced it. Finally caught up with Reacher, Invincible, and Spider-Man. Now time to watch Daredevil to see what the hype is about. So far, Invincible is the best show I've currently watched. What is your current top show movie? Current, dude, I've watched so much shit I can't even fucking tell you, honestly. Of all time, Sopranos. There's nothing that's ever been better to that, better than that, in my opinion. You got a current, something that you've... No,
not really, dude. I'm literally just ingesting and shitting out.
Yeah, right.
Movies and shows.
You know what I would say? I think it would have been The Last of Us that first season. Now that just kind of rethinking that. I would say probably Last of Us, but
I kind of along those lines. I would say Black Sunday.
Okay.
That was impressive.
OG Dirte also, he talks about the Daredevil episode 9 or 8, but he said, let me get straight to the point. You mean to tell me that Bullseye had a chance to kill Kingpin, Daredevil, and Vanessa and only took one shot? Really? Ain't no way. Yeah, I get that. It was a little silly. And he says, I'm trying to figure out why he wasn't handcuffed when he was took to medical. Yeah, that stuff's a little silly. A little silliness, Adrian.
He was.
He
was in the chair, and the cop knelt down and uncuffed him. One wrist first, and then he spit in his eye, he went off crying like a bitch, and then he uncuffed the rest of them.
Got it. Okay. And then we had people talking about Emma Frost, dude. Emma Frost is most definitely getting back on Rivals. Thick thighs save lives. #, Emma Frost. Yes. Dude, I was getting into Marvel Rivals this weekend, Adrian, and I was feeling frosty with Emma, dude.
I'm sure.
Yep. And she's a badass, too.
Is she?
So I played her once, and I'm like, I don't like this character. I changed, and then the thing about this game is you can't just pick it up and be amazing. Like, you're going to have to put some work in.
Sure.
Once I figured out her kit, as they call it, how to use her moves and shit, she's pretty badass. So, like, she has this shield that she can throw just about anywhere. I think it has 300 health. And the way you attack, one of the best ways to start is you throw the shield first. So it's going to shield you, but your attacks go through the shield. Okay. And then she has this, I don't know what it's called. She throws like this fucking like ice thing down that if you hit your opponent with it, it kind of connects to them. There's this line that connects to them. They can move away, and I could attack this ice thing, and it will drain their health. So it's almost like it's attached to them, and whatever happens to this thing also happens to the character.
Okay. So it's almost like you put a tracer on a person.
Pretty much.
And then whatever you attack with later, it goes to that tracer, which is attached to the person.
Correct. And it, after a few hits, it's gone.
Sure.
And but it allows you to get extra damage as people are running away.
Right.
And then she, so like you throw that down, you throw your shield down, and now you're attacking the shield, attacking the person. They're backing up, and then you can pursue them. And her main attack is it's almost like a beam. So she's some type of psionic ability, whatever. But it's a beam that you have to aim it at the person, and the longer you have it on an opponent, the more damage it does.
Okay.
So like it's doing whatever, I don't know, fucking 10 HP per second, something, and it just continues to increase.
But it's not like the tracer. I'm assuming with the tracer, you don't have to be accurate. But with the beam, you got to be accurate.
With the tracer,
and it has to be continuous.
Yes, you got to be accurate when you hit them the first time. So I hit the opponent with the tracer, boom.
Correct.
Then it stays in the ground, and now all I got to do is hit that tracer, and it will do some damage to you.
Okay.
But with my attack ability, I got to be on you. So you can easily move out of it, and I'm following you.
Sure.
The problem is every time it breaks, it resets to the lowest damage. So the idea or the goal is to keep it on someone as long as possible, and you can just shred them.
Nice.
Then she has her diamond form. So you hit R1 on PlayStation, you turn to her diamond form. Now she's a melee. She doesn't have that psychic ability anymore, which we know that she doesn't have those abilities when she's in her diamond form. But she's almost impenetrable, and her damage resistance goes up. And now she becomes like a melee character, so you can get in and hit people. She has this move. I think it's with L1, where she grabs him by the throat. We saw this in a video last week, and then slams him on the ground. And then she does a roundhouse kick that knocks people back. So she's pretty. She has, I think, 650 health. So she is a tank. So she's been fun to use. Cool. She's definitely been fun. Great addition to the game. The new map is all right. I'm not crazy. It's Krakoa, but it really looks a lot like that Yargsdale, however the fuck you say it, the Asgard map. But anyways, I'm back on, dude. It was fun. We ran a bunch of games this past week. Me and my cousin, one of his boys, and we're kicking ass. So it was fun. But what's going to be even more fun, Adrian, is Hidden Gem. Do you have Night Watch again this week? You're doing it again?
Yes.
Okay. Part two. He's
Part
so
two.
all right. Let's go.
Yeah. No. So this week, kind of kicked off last week with a DC character. I think I'm gonna stay on the DC wagon for a little bit because there's a lot of stuff that's there.
Yep.
That can be exposed. So this week's hidden gem is Killer Frost.
Ooh.
Right. So
Killer Frost, not Killer Croc.
Killer Frost. Right. Okay. Not Emma Frost.
No.
Killer Frost.
Okay.
So basically. So there's been 3 versions of this character in the comics. The first one was what was her name? Crystal Frost.
Okay.
The second one was Louise Lincoln, and then we got the one that most of us are accustomed to, which is Caitlin Frost.
Okay.
Caitlin Frost, she's the one that came out. She was played by Danielle Panaber. On the CW's The Flash, and she also was in Arrowverse, also on CW, right? And I thought she did a good job, that the actress playing Killer Frost. But basically, this is now she's stereotypical in certain ways and not so much in others, right? So she's a scientist, which means that she has a genius level intellect.
Yeah.
So she was a scientist for Star Labs. Working on a underfunded project, which the head of the project, the previous head of the project, was killed. And I'll get into that a little bit, but the previous head of the project was killed. She picked up this project because she was interested in it. And basically, it was a self-sustaining thermodynamic engine, right? Basically, a perpetual motion kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And when she got into it, all of her coworkers was like, don't do it, blah, blah. And the reason that they didn't want her to do it was because her coworkers were secretly Hive employees, and they didn't want the engine to be developed because it was against Hive's interest.
Okay.
Right? So they killed the original researcher on it. And so they wanted to get rid of her. So they threw her in this engine after she got it working, right? She got it working. They threw her in this engine, and her knee-jerk reaction was to just like start pulling wires apart, right? So she did that, and it created some kind of interaction between her and Ice, and so on and so forth. So basically, as during that process, imagine if that was real, dude. You can just like, let me just take the carburetor off this engine, and I'm gonna become fucking steel or some bullshit, right? So she became basically through an accident. She became Killer Frost. Now, what does that mean? So basically, the cells in her body, she's living organic ice. Her entire body is covered by permafrost, and only thing permafrost means is permanent frost. She's permanently encased in ice. She's not like Iceman. It's a little different. He basically, I don't know if he covers himself with ice or his whole body becomes ice. I think it's more covers. But anyway, it's different than Iceman.
Yeah.
And her power set is different than Iceman's. She can, first of all, she has like this killer kiss. Well, with guys, she's probably going to kiss them and drain their powers. Anybody else? So if she touches you, she absorbs the heat. Now, what's weird about her is that her name is Killer Frost. She projects ice or cold, kind of like what's his name's gun, Batman rival, Mr. Frost. So she projects Mr. Freeze. She projects cold like that, but she's a heat vampire. In order for her to wield her powers, she needs heat. And she can actually go into like a catatonic shock if she doesn't get heat. Now, she can draw heat from anywhere. Floors, wires, people, typically. Now, if she touches you, she's basically going to absorb all your heat and you're going to die, kind of a deal. As a matter of fact, if there was a versus between her and Iceman, well, they say she would win. But the thing about it is that even though Iceman could defeat her by keeping her constantly cold because the cold will drain her, but ice isn't, unless the ice is absolute zero, which Iceman can get down to absolute zero. That's his normal state.
Yeah.
The objects that he create, they have some heat in them, so she can constantly destabilize his ice by absorbing the heat out of the ice. So that means that tells you that there's heat in pretty much everything. So she's basically a heat vampire, and she needs heat to sustain. And if she doesn't, then that's her main weakness. She can go into this kind of a catatonic shock from not having heat, even though she projects cold. Now, she can, affect other things like moisture. She can like make ice cubes grow out of your body from the moisture in your body.
But if my drink is warm, can she drop some ice in there and cool it off for me?
No, she would not drop ice into. She can touch it and make it cold.
Okay.
But she's not going to generate ice like hovering across. Or she can make the water molecules in the drink cold enough to form ice.
Oh, okay.
That kind of a deal. So now she started out as kind of a villain because she getting used to her powers, going around basically anything around her she's going to absorb heat from. So obviously they call her Killer Frost because she ran into some people. First of all, the Hive team in the lab that tried to kill her, she killed them. So that was the first kill. And then, she stole a helicopter, went back to where she was, blah, 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 blah.
Want to check this? So this is Killer Frost right here?
That's Killer Frost right there.
It's pretty cool looking.
Pretty hot like Emma Frost.
Yeah.
Right?
Not as hot.
Not as hot.
She's on,
she's on the spectrum.
Okay. There you go.
So she got her name from inadvertently probably killing people because she's drawing heat from
With her frost.
With her frost, right?
Makes sense.
And so like Superman, because he gets his powers from the sun, she can pretty much drain him. And the more heat that she absorbs, the more power that she has. And of course, if she expels all of that power, then she's pretty much dead herself.
Got it.
And as a matter of fact, one of the first characters that not only she sought out, but she set up arrangements so that she could be near him so that she can drain his powers was a previous hidden gem, Firestorm.
Okay.
The fusion reactor superhero. So she started out as a villain, but of course, she got put into Belle Reve, and then she got made part of the Suicide Squad. Batman, out of everybody was doubting her, except of course, Batman is like, this is bullshit. So he actually got her out and invited her to the Justice League. So she's been associated with the Justice League. There's some fun things there, but I mean, I think this is a good character. Like I said, her powers are not like Iceman, but she has those properties. So cryokinesis, she can create forms with her ice, right? She can create storms just like Iceman can. She can obviously affect moisture and things. So like I said, she can freeze the water molecules in your body, have ice spikes coming out of you, which there's an animated show in which she has done that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask, has she been in any animation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she has. She has. So animation, TV shows, things like that. Like I said, durability, because she's permanently encased, she can take like a shotgun, a shot to the gut, survive that. Like I said, the genius level intellect, because she started out as a scientist, right? And her weakness is that she regularly needs to absorb heat. And the fact that they put in that she has a cinnamon allergy was nonsensical to me. But I'm just throwing that out. Just throwing it out.
Damn, so bring your cinnamon and you're gonna whoop her ass.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hit you with the cinnamon stick.
That's it.
Shit.
And an interesting trivia, she was once pen pals with, guess who? Another heat source, El Diablo.
Oh, shit. Another bad hidden gem.
Yeah,
right?
Another bad hidden gem.
Damn.
So that's it. So just general powers. The death touch, which basically means that whatever she touches, she absorbs the power, the heat.
Yeah.
Healing, as a result of this, the ice breath, she can, obviously blow on things. Cool them down.
And her name, this one, because there's several. The one you're talking about is, what's her name again?
Caitlin Frost. They all had the same powers.
Yeah, okay.
It's just that, one superseded the other one. I think the first one actually died from something.
Okay.
So on and so forth. Now, they say levitation. I've never seen that. But, that's listed as one of her powers. And wind burst. Like, again, she can control, she can create ice storms and pretty much anything in it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that a lot of her powers are probably like Iceman, right?
Yeah.
Now she can create ice sheets and slide across the floor, but Iceman can create. So when he creates things, his powers actually can propel him or pull him across the things that he creates.
Got it. Yes, it's definitely an improvement over last week, Adrian. But no, this is awesome, dude. Another 5-star. So if you liked Adrian's Hidden Gem, like the video, give us a shout out, give us some suggestions for next week. We're going to wrap up with some agree to disagree. Now, one thing I will say, actually, we'll do this at the end. Superman Day is coming up. I didn't even know about Superman Day, dude, until I was on there looking at some comics to order.
Hey,
He's your boy, though.
Why not? Listen, in the United States, there is or will be a reason to celebrate every 365 days of the year.
Correct. Yep. We're going to have Only Comics Day pretty soon, Adrian.
Might as well, right?
In May. And our 2-year anniversary is going to be Only Comics Day.
That's it.
Anyways, we're going to do some Agree to Disagree, Adrian. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
So if you're brand new with us, Agree to Disagree is where I give out my opinions, some that I formed just right now while Adrian was going through this phenomenal hidden gem. If you're on TikTok watching us, what's a hidden gem? Go to the YouTube and find out. Anyways, these are my opinions as of today. They can change. They probably will change. And Adrian's going to let me know in his opinion if he agrees or disagrees, and then you guys will argue about it amongst each other in the comments. You'll call us names. Some of y'all will get really offended, and some of you will have fun, because that's what we're here to do.
That's it.
Because the real name of this show is Fun with Mike and Adrian.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking go.
Number 1, Avengers versus X-Men should not happen in Avengers Doomsday.
I agree.
The Sopranos is the greatest show of all time.
I disagree.
If Matt Reeves can't direct the Batman 2, they should cancel it.
I disagree.
Namor would lay the smackdown on Mr. Fantastic.
I agree.
And he might snatch his girl up, too.
He definitely snatched his girl.
Batman should have a no-kill rule.
I I think he should have a no kill rule exception.
Okay. And who should he use that exception on?
The Joker, number one.
Okay.
Riddler, just because he doesn't even make sense to be around.
So it sounds like no kill rule for you. But he shouldn't just be Punisher.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I think he should, like I said, with exception.
Got it. Okay.
You know, for 99.99% of the time, break bones, paralyze, do all those other things, which in some cases are actually worse than killing them, right?
Right.
But I don't think he should just completely take it off the table.
Okay. I should have said he should have a no unalive rule. Okay.
Okay.
Because we're politically correct here on Only Comics.
No, not at all.
Oh, wait, wrong one. Daredevil should not have a no-kill rule.
Agree.
And I think about it in the same way you just explained Batman. So I think that Daredevil should have the with the exception rule. I don't think Batman should. But anyways, next, Batman would beat Daredevil 8 out of 10 times.
Agree.
And last but not least, if you're watching this on TikTok, go over to the YouTube, subscribe to the main channel, and get Only Comics, the full effect, Adrian. Because if you're just watching Agree to Disagree, you're not getting the full effect.
I agree.
And you should come check us out. Also, if you're looking for some comics, go to onlycomicsmerch.com.
That's it.
We're starting to stock some comics. We're going to launch a full-blown comic book store in about a month. And that brings me to the last thing before we wrap this thing up. Superman Day, Adrian, is a real thing. It's upon us. It is April 18th, okay? There's a couple things that are happening. WB's doing some special screening of Batman. It's Christopher. Imagine that they screen Batman on Superman's Day.
All right, that'd be something.
They should, right? Yeah.
All right, hey, they're intertwined.
Yes, absolutely. But Christopher Reeve's Superman 1978. They're going to do some special screening of that. There's a lot of stuff going on, but they re-released some comics. So we have a couple of them for sale on our website. If you want to go to the wide shot, Adrian, we got these two right here. These Superman. We got All-Star Superman and Superman for All Seasons, these foil variants. It will be released on the 18th, so you can't order them. Well, actually, you can order them this week, and they won't ship until then. But Superman Day is coming up, and dude, we got a lot of fun stuff for next week. I'm thinking, Adrian, we teased this weeks ago, and we haven't delivered this yet, Adrian. So we talked about, someone suggested, since we did Fantastic Four rewatches, we do a Superman movie.
Okay.
I'm thinking we watch the OG Superman finally. What do you think? You got time this week?
I got time.
We're not traveling. Well, I'll be traveling, but I'll be on vacation, so I'll just watch it. But I've not, dude, here's the thing. You've probably seen this movie more than me. I've only seen this movie like once or twice as a kid.
Right.
You've seen this how many times?
Probably a couple more times than you have.
Yeah. As an adult?
As an adult.
Yeah, so I've never watched this movie as an adult. So it's going to be a treat for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember being a kid in my room, back with the old TVs, I had this TV that what my dad would do, like when something broke, he'd give it to me. So I had like this, dude, there was a point in time where I had a big-ass TV in my room.
Yeah.
But it was the broken TV from the living room.
Right.
It was this big old black Sanyo, and probably every hour or so, it would just shut off. And you had to smack the side of it, and it'd come back on. Yes, so
it's them tubes getting overheated.
Exactly.
Or they start shifting around up in there.
Yep. So I had to from the outside, it was like, oh, you got a nice TV in your room. Like, yeah. Just keep watching. Watch what happens.
Yeah. What you got to do is open them up and wait until like it cools down.
Okay.
But open them up and get a dry rag or something and dust off all the coils and stuff.
Got it. Well,
and reseat some things.
No, what I did, what everyone else would do when that one shit the bed, put another one right on top of
there
it.
You go.
Yes,
or
there you go. Yeah, or that. But that's the last time I remember watching this when I was a kid. Actually, even before I got the broken TV, I had a little ass TV. But so yeah, we'll do a deep dive into Superman 1978, Christopher Reeve's version. And we'll be celebrating Superman Day here next week. So we have some Superman content for y'all.
There you go.
So anyways, that is the show. Adrian, thanks for coming out.
But before we close out,
yes.
Just clarification. You said that we're going to open up a full-blown comic book store in about a month.
Yes.
What does that mean? A brick and mortar?
No, online
okay.
store. Yeah, sorry, online. Yep. No, so you can't come here yet. So don't show up trying to buy comics, dude. Just buy them online.
There you go.
And we're open. It's going to be it's I would say not boutique-ish, but we're not going to be stocked with hundreds of issues. And if there's stuff y'all want, new stuff, past stuff, let us know that we can get it at a better price than most other places. So. Anyways, that's the show this week. Adrian, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
So next week we got Superman deep dive.
Yep.
We got the grand finale, the season finale of Daredevil Born Again. So we'll be going through that. And then I think over the next few weeks we'll start fleshing out this next versus the team verse. I like that idea, Sons of Sekhmet. And then we'll just have a placeholder versus for next week, like the Batman Daredevil one this week. Sure. That's what we have to look forward to. If you are an intern, we'll see you on Wednesday and other stuff. If you're not, join the internship. $4.99 a month. You're going to get an extra podcast every week, and you get only comics a little bit early. I've been trying to get it out an hour early. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes a little bit later. I do my best to. I mean, we got jobs that get in the way, that type of shit. But anyways, appreciate all y'all checking us out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you loved about it, what you hated, and what you're looking forward to next week. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
You got the peace in there again, Adrian. You got to. All right.